not. The only thing we'd be asking for is what we were asking for before about we want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear.
Now, the president reiterated that Iran's nuclear program has been destroyed, despite some reports that say U.S. strikes only caused a setback. The president said he thinks Iran is done trying to create a nuclear weapon. All right, your weather for today. It's going to be another hot one this afternoon. Highs around 97. We do have a chance of a pop-up late-day shower or storm. Some of those storms could be severe, so check back for updates. We'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That comes your way at 12:05 with WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. And it's not just hot here. Millions across the Midwest and Northeast in for another day of brutal heat.
Good news, it's not quite as hot as it was yesterday, but still we are in record territory in Philadelphia where we will flirt with 100 degrees. We will be at 100 degrees in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And meteorologist David Parkinson says temperatures are expected to drop later in the week as we head into the weekend. News since Atlanta's morning news, one person is killed in a house fire in Snellville.
Firefighters respond to a blaze on Roundstone Trail Tuesday evening.
The callers to the 911 center reported that they knew someone was inside the home and had not been able to escape.
Captain Ryan McGibney with the Gwinnett Fire Department says they attempted to enter a window on the second floor of the house when the roof collapsed, forcing firefighters to retreat. Once it was safe to go in, they found the victim, who was rushed to the hospital where he died. 3 dogs also died in the fire. The cause is under investigation. Bill Kayaccio, 95.5 WSB.
All right, this is new here at noon. One man is behind bars this noon after a deadly shooting in Henry County.
Locust Grove police were called to a home on Weymouth Drive. When they arrived, they heard shots being fired. As they started to go in, the suspect emerged from the home and surrendered.
Officers then made entry, found a adult male deceased in a downstairs bedroom with what appears to be a gunshot wound.
Police Chief Derek Austin says a woman was found in an upstairs bathroom with serious injuries. She was taken to the hospital. The suspect taken to police headquarters for questioning. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
4 people injured in a shooting outside a church in Jonesboro. Police say an argument after a basketball game led to the shooting in the parking lot of the First Baptist Church of Jonesboro on Church Street last night. The suspected shooter, 22-year-old Nigel Banks, turned himself into police. A 31-year-old man was taken to the hospital for treatment. 3 other men were taken to Southern Regional Medical Center in private vehicles. Banks is in the Clayton County Jail now on 4 counts of aggravated assault. This is also new on your lunch hour. A $10,000 reward is now being offered as Brookhaven police try to find the suspect who shot and killed a 15-year-old boy earlier this month. That shooting took place near the McDonald's on Claremont Road on the night of June 14th. Detectives are continuing to look into the circumstances around that shooting. No arrests have been made, and anybody with information being urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Happening right now, a CDC vaccine advisory panel is meeting for the first time since the Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. dismissed the entire panel and then appointed his own members. He is, of course, known for his questioning of some vaccines. Now, the panel of 8 will be deciding on recommendations concerning vaccines for things like flu and RSV. Right now, they are discussing COVID. We are monitoring. We'll let you know if anything happens. That panel meeting today and tomorrow. The sheriff of Clayton County announcing plans to file a lawsuit over the new county budget passed this week.
Clayton County's newest budget yanks more than $10 million from the sheriff's office. The cuts include 36 corrections officers, millions for inmate medical care, part-time salaries, transport expenses, insurance and Medicare benefits, and more. Commissioner DeMont Davis voted for it while expressing concern.
One of the big things for me was to make sure all of our employees were given some type of salary increase. That was number 1 on the agenda, but also 2, it's to public safety.
The sheriff plans to sue the board over the budget cuts. Elsewhere, Clayton County employees will see raises of 1% to nearly 4%. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
There's a new survey today concerning jobs. It finds more than half of Americans believe the idea of a stable full-time job is just a myth. More than 40% of those polled say they now have a side hustle or second job in order to meet their financial needs. The survey also finds fewer Americans are interested in leadership roles. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow currently down 77 at 43,011. NASDAQ is in positive territory, but only slightly, and so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams joining us now from the 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
And some better news heading into Midtown and downtown Sabrina. Police and Hero just blocked all lanes for a minute. 7585 southbound before North Avenue, exit 249, right under the 10th Street Bridge. Got a crash off to the right, so lanes are back open. You're stacked in from the 85-400 merge, as well as causing some Buford Spring connector southbound delays, but those will start to improve now that everything's back open. 285 north and southbound, the inner and outer loop on the west side, seeing some slow traffic. traffic. All of it trying to take those narrow ramps on the I-20 westbound, the West Freeway, and in DeKalb, right lane construction, 20 eastbound before Wesley Chapel Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Hot and humid today with a high of 97. That's shy of the record high of 100 degrees, but watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms later this afternoon. Some of these storms may produce damaging wind gusts capable of knocking down a few trees and power lines. The storms come to an end tonight, lows in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a few pop-up storms, high 95. Rain chances go up for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and temperatures dial down into the low 90s going into this weekend.
All right, we have sunshine, 91 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. We'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States, and I am delighted to have you as we watch a concerted effort to try to discredit the United States military in an effort to own Donald Trump. This is pathetic. You all know I get hate mail all the time from people who don't like that I will criticize the President of the United States. I tell you exactly what I think, and this one is wild to me to see the American Press Corps using leaks probably from congressional Democrats to discredit the United States military as a way of getting Donald Trump. Why? Because what he did in Iran is extremely popular with the public. He was on the right side, they were on the wrong side, and now it's very, very wild to see this setup where the people who didn't want him to bomb Iran now argue, well, he didn't bomb them enough. I mean, just think about that. Just think about that. The people who told you we should not do anything in Iran are now telling you we didn't do enough in Iran. Do they want us to go back and do some more? I'm pretty sure he'd be fine with that. Natasha Bertrand is the CNN reporter who broke the story. It's an exclusive at CNN. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because she's also the reporter when she was at Politico who broke the story that the Hunter Biden laptop was not real but was Russian disinformation. The sources said, and the experts say, and the national security community told her that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. It wasn't real. And she ran that story as a way to discredit the New York Post and to protect Joe Biden. Natasha Bertrand was then hired by CNN. They have elevated her position at CNN, and the same reporter who tried to discredit the Hunter Biden laptop is now trying to discredit the attack on Iran. Can you really believe, with her sources that told her the Hunter Biden laptop was fake, can you really believe her sources that the attack on Iran was fake, was not real, it did nothing, was for show? Can you really believe it? The New York Times has a similar story, but it's also the New York Times. Now, I will say, there is a lot of credible evidence Iran did pull a lot of uranium out of Fordo before it was bombed. We assume the Israelis know where the uranium went. It's true. But you can't refine it without the centrifuges that were not pulled out from under the mountain, that we know historically, if they stop abruptly, blow up because they spin so fast. The Israeli Atomic Energy Commission believes that they were set back years. The Israeli assessment is actually that they were set back. And it's not just Israel, it's also people, the IAEA from the United Nations. So, you know, CNN is having on the reporters with the deep state sources. By the way, side note, tangent here. I actually think it's Democrats in Congress. Democrats on the Intelligence Committee were given the superficial briefing of what the initial findings were, and it did not, the leaking of the report came after the Democrats in Congress on the Intelligence Committee. It was not just the Democrats, it was Republicans and Democrats alike on the Intelligence Committees for the House and the Senate. They were given briefings, and the leaking came after the House and Senate Intelligence Committees were given briefings on the initial intelligence assessment. And by the way, as Pete Hegseth and others have made clear, it was the weight given to the intelligence was low. It was an initial report. It was not eyewitness. It was from satellite observation for something that was buried 300 feet underground. So the assessment of the intelligence was actually low confidence. When the news reporters ran it, they left out that it was considered a low confidence report, but that was the initial assessment pending direct observation. The House and Senate Intelligence Committees received the briefings, and the report came out after the Intelligence Committees. My guess is it was Democrats in the House and Senate, some of whom have now acknowledged that they got the initial intelligence report. My guess is they leaked it. Because what Donald Trump did was popular, and they've got to undermine Donald Trump's popularity. And it's very easy for a Democrat to be able to question the competence of our military. They don't mind questioning the competence of our military in order to undermine Donald Trump. It's all political. So you go to the reporter who was willing to carry water for him on the Hunter Biden laptop, and you tell her that, oh, this is they're saying in the intelligence reports that we didn't actually do anything. While CNN is having on the reporter with the Democrat leading sources, Fox News is having on the chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency of the United Nations to talk about the situation.
Well, I think the nuclear program, the Iranian nuclear program, has been set back significantly. When you say years, I don't know, what is your the metric that you want to apply? Now, I don't know. We have to see what they want to do. Are they going to reconstruct what they had? And let's not forget, there are so many interactions here, Martha. If, for example, there is a resumption, as I hope personally, of the negotiation with Ambassador Witkoff, where there was an idea that Iran would not be enriching and would perhaps be part of an international consortium. I mean, there were very interesting ideas that were being floated. This is not my thing. This is for the negotiation that is going to take place, I hope, again, as it was, and we would only need to verify it. But it is clear that there is one Iran before June 13, nuclear Iran, and one now, and it's night and day.
It's night and day. That's the UN agency, not exactly pro-Trump there. Here's Donald Trump himself.
President Trump, along with other senior cabinet officials, slammed the intel leak at the NATO summit this morning.
You would think they'd want to say this was an unbelievable success. And the thing that hurts me is it's really demeaning to the pilots and the people that put that whole thing together, the generals. That was a perfect operation.
You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
It's wiped out.
It's wiped out. Then we dropped 12 of the strongest bombs on the planet right down the hole in 2 places.
Yeah. But you know, so this is the one more, because this is Brett McGurk, who worked for Barack Obama. He was on with Anderson Cooper last night. Listen to this.
Multiple things can be right. First of all, the intelligence community is very careful with words. Obliterate is not a term of art that is used in the intelligence community. So you'll never see an IC report saying obliterate. I think the key question here is the Fordo facility accessible, and can it be rendered usable again for the Iranian enrichment program? Are those centrifuges hundreds of feet underground still there and still usable? Or is Fordo, maybe the underground facility was not caved in, but it's basically entombed and it's going to be extremely difficult for the Iranians ever to access it again? I think we'll learn more here as the days and even weeks go by, but that's basically where we are. So this is one report. But as this goes on, you'll have a much more comprehensive assessment within the U.S. government and within the intelligence departments.
one of the most reasonable things said on CNN yesterday regarding this report is, as they're overhyping it to try to discredit and damage the president, to claim the military didn't do anything, is we actually have satellite imagery. We haven't actually been on the ground to inspect. And this is the interesting one for me. So this is from The Atlantic on MSNBC, talking about the report, trying to discredit the president. Listen to where they go.
Ashley, you and I have written a couple pieces together in recent days for The Atlantic about this situation in Iran and the president's approach to it. Certainly this was meant to be a limited strike. That was the idea. He has signaled that he doesn't want to send ground troops, that he was comfortable with the bombing on Saturday night. And now we're at this moment where he is really defending it as a pure and simple success, as we've been very clear. It's just too early to know that right now. What's your latest you've been reporting on in terms of his mindset, and what could be next for him there in this situation?
Well, first of all, this is very in line with Donald Trump's belief that he can bend reality to his will, that if he says something enough, just like with the 2020 election, his false claim that it was stolen, it can become true. So that's why we are seeing it is too early to know. The truth is we don't actually know if it was totally obliterated, if it was set back by a few months. But his belief is that if he just repeats that this mission was a perfect success, that it was totally obliterated, it will make it true.
You got that? He lied about the election. You can't believe him about this. You should believe us, the members of the media, who lied about COVID instead. That's their spin. Absolutely right that we don't know yet whether it's true or not. We don't know actually the assessment, but it was kind of wild for the New York Times and CNN to rush out with the intelligence community says it wasn't destroyed. The intelligence community says they're only set back by a couple months. The Israelis, who have a vested existential interest, say they were set back by years. By the way, they've assassinated another 30 or 40 atomic scientists in Iran, despite the ceasefire. I think what's happening here is an American media so in bed with the Democratic Party, they're willing to discredit and insult the work of the American military because they can't afford for Donald Trump to see a polling rebound. They can't afford for him to go up in the polling. We got midterms coming in just over a year that they can't afford for Donald Trump to be popular. So they will discredit the American military to discredit Donald Trump. What is the most interesting and fascinating point for me, though, is that the people who were upset that Donald Trump bombed Iran are now like, well, he didn't do a good enough job. I guess this is their invitation for him to go back and do more. That's how I read this, is if you think it wasn't a good enough job, I guess we need to go spend a little more time in Iran, don't we? To make sure, because we've just now stirred up a hornet's nest, and if they're 2 or 3 months from getting a nuke, we better go obliterate it. Isn't that it? Is this the media wanting regime change in Iran? Is this what they're doing? It is not a coincidence, and you need to understand this. It is not a coincidence that the reporter who pushed the lies about Hunter Biden's laptop for the left pushes a report undermining the military's claims on Iran shortly after Democrats on the Intelligence Committee in the House and the Senate are briefed on what happened. We don't need to conjure deep state agents within the Department of Defense and Intelligence community to find the leaker here. It's obviously Democrats and members of Congress, given the timing of the report. Democrats in Congress are playing politics with our national security now. Things they've accused Republicans of in the past, they are blatantly doing now. The initial intelligence report was rated low confidence by the military because, again, we don't have eyes on the ground. No one has been there to look. It was based on satellite pictures. They aren't sure. They were expecting more of a collapse of the mountainside and surroundings than there were. They have seen the Iranians trying to go in to assess stuff, and by seeing the Iranians attempting to access the sites, they presumed the sites were accessible. That's the substance of the report. They're making presumptions. So the same American intelligence community reports that said Iran was not anywhere near getting a bomb are now saying they're a couple of months from being able to get a bomb, but just last week told us that they were not even sure they were building a bomb. None of this makes sense unless you understand this is about discrediting Donald Trump, not about telling you what actually happened.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Day Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center trying to shake out the delays into Midtown via I-85 southbound leaving Georgia 400, put into place by an earlier crash on the connector southbound before North Avenue, now on the right shoulder. Some northbound delays on and off the brakes from University Avenue up toward Freedom Parkway. And if you're traveling at 285 southbound, the inner loop between Doraville and Tucker, you're on and off the brake pedal as well from Peachtree Boulevard, trying to make your way down to La Vista Road. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop sweet savings at Whole Foods Market. Get organic red cherries for $4.99 per pound with Prime through July 1st. While supplies last, shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
You're by the pool.
You're relaxing.
You're sipping a drink.
Someone brings you a towel.
Adjust the umbrella.
Sound like a fantasy?
It's not if you win $1,000 from WSB.
$1,000 Thursdays begins tomorrow.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBRadio.com or the WSB app within that hour, and you could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBRadio.com.
$1,000
Thursdays from 95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. We are here with the owners and experts, Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum. Tell me, Ted, why do you think buying new windows and doors can be so confusing and a difficult process for people?
We've been asking ourselves that question for years. That's why we make window and door shopping simple. Most companies offer vinyl windows disguised by terms like composite and PVC. They do this because vinyl windows do not hold up in our harsh Georgia climate. Their windows just can't compete with the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows, so they just confuse people by saying things like vinyl composite when it's just another vinyl window.
So obviously you do not recommend any type of vinyl window. Can you share a better option with us?
Well, Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows. The fiberglass will hold up to the weather and won't lose their energy efficiency over time. Infinity fiberglass windows are 8 times stronger and expand 87% less than vinyl composite windows.
So Ted, tell me what's the big difference? What can I expect when I install a better quality window like Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows?
You will brighten your home with more daylight and bigger views. Our windows also improve your home's energy efficiency, your family's comfort, and the curb appeal. We've had many customers use us on multiple homes because of their experience and for the strong resale value.
Okay, all this sounds really good. So where can we check out the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass products?
You can only experience the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass difference with North Georgia Replacement Windows at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom. We like to personally invite you to visit our beautiful new showroom and meet our amazing team of experts.
Thanks, guys, for sharing your expertise and knowledge. Visit ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. firstlibertyga.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. firstlibertyga.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
I said yesterday, I really don't care about the Democratic mayoral primary in New York City, and I don't. I know a lot of you do. So I will give you some very brief thoughts here. One, I saw Stephen Miller from the White House talk about this is why immigration matters, and he put something around the lines of in fact, here's a tweet of his, the commentary about it, New York City Democrats nominating an anarchist socialist for mayor amidst one point, how unchecked migration fundamentally remade the New York City electorate. Democrats change politics by changing voters. That's how you turn a city that defined U.S. dominance into what it is now. We actually have the data on who voted in New York City, and we have the exit polling on how they voted, and we know the neighborhoods where the vote came in, and that's simply not true. And I see a lot of people on the right saying that, all these immigrants in New York City voted for the Muslim socialist from Uganda to be mayor. That's actually not true, people. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can look at you can overlay the votes for Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mandami in New York, and you can see it was overwhelmingly white people who voted for the socialist from Uganda, and it was black and Hispanic and immigrant communities that voted for Andrew Cuomo. The black, the Hispanic, the immigrant communities of New York fled socialism and did not want the socialist. It is the white people from Manhattan and Brooklyn who overwhelmingly voted for the socialist and put him over the top. I think this is bad news for the Democratic Party, and it's why Republicans have got to embrace immigrants, because they're fleeing socialism, and they rejected the guy, contrary to what Miller claims. But also, there's this. I couldn't care less about New York City, that every major city in America other than Miami is run by a Democrat. You have competent Democrats in places like Atlanta that are pro-business and keep the city running, and then you've got socialist incompetence in Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. You're going to have it in New York City, and good riddance. Let people get what they voted for and get it good and hard, and maybe they'll realize they made a mistake. But the takeaway here is that it was the good white liberals of New York who did this. The immigrants tried to vote against the socialists. But the alternative was voting for a man who sexually harassed people and killed their grandmothers. It wasn't really much of a major choice. I had dinner last night with the CEO of Vision Computers, who basically owns Atlanta. So a great dinner with him. And his company is hands down one of my favorites, Vision Computers, because, we have one of their computers in our house. And like I was telling him last night, my son plays these video games on this gaming PC we got for him from Vision Computers with a friend of his who's several hours away, and he gets so worked up, you can hear him in his room. He's screaming and he's pounding on the desk, and inevitably a cable gets loose, and he doesn't realize what's happening. He thinks something's wrong with the computer, so he emails Vision Computers tech support. They call him back, within minutes, and they get him set and make him check the cables, and they're just fantastic. They'll build you computers. They'll be tech support for your computers. They're wonderful people, and they'll save you some money. 404-COMPUTE and visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE. Call them and tell them I sent you. You're going to save some money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Let them take care of all your tech needs.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Locust Grove police are investigating a deadly shooting on a quiet street in Henry County.
Officers could hear the firearm being discharged in the residence. They also observed rounds were coming through the back of the house, from inside the house, shooting through the house towards the rear.
Now, Locust Grove Police Chief Derek Austin says the suspect came out and surrendered. He is now in custody this afternoon. A man was found dead in a downstairs bedroom. A woman was found upstairs with significant injuries. She is in the hospital right now. All right, it's going to be hot again today. Afternoon highs around 97. A few pop-up storms late in the day are possible. Some of those could be severe, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Stay with us or check back for weather updates. One person killed in a house fire in Snellville. Captain Ryan McGivney with the Gwinnett County Fire Department says firefighters tried to rescue the person trapped inside the home on Roundstone Trail.
While attempting that rescue, there was a structural collapse of the roof system, forcing our crews to withdraw for their own safety.
And once they got inside the home, they did find the victim, but he died at the hospital. 3 dogs also killed in that fire. The cause under investigation. President Trump says he did not discuss a ceasefire when he talked with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the NATO summit as they work for ending the war.
Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars.
Talking to reporters in the Netherlands, Mr. Trump said that he will be speaking to Russian President Vladimir Putin soon. The president said he had a nice conversation with Zelensky, and he believes the Ukrainian leader wants the war to end as soon as possible. The market for new homes is starting to spiral. The Census Bureau confirming sales of new single-family homes last month came in at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $623,000. That's nearly 14% below the April figure and a 7-month low. New home data is watched as an indicator of the broader economy. It's 12:32.
Steel Horse Law knows that your bike is made of steel, but your heart is made of gold. If someone causes you to lay your bike down, you deserve the very best from an experienced firm that knows bikers because they are bikers. Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. They're local, so they understand the changes to Georgia law, and you'll meet directly with your attorney, not just an assistant like the mega firms. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
365 days a year, just call us up, we'll be right there. Our service is guaranteed. At Shoemate, we take great care. Our experts are always there for you and your family's needs. When your family just can't wait, you can always count on Shoemate.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
Alex Williams, how we doing on the roads?
Big jam out of Duluth right now, but it should improve. We've had a crash, 85 southbound, Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104, just south of Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. It's been in 3 left center lanes. They're holding all of the right lanes right now, trying to get that off to the right, so hopefully that will improve soon. Elsewhere, if you're traveling 285 westbound, the outer loop out of Sandy Springs toward Cobb County, you're on and off the brake pedal from Georgia 400 over to I-75, and they held all lanes in Cobb County, 285 southbound past South Cobb Drive. Got some debris off to the right there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All right, we have 91 degrees with sunny skies on Peachtree Street. More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Conversationalist, it is Eric Erickson here across the United States. Glad to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. Let me use the New York Democratic primary, which you don't really care about. And I've had some people say, you should care about New York City. You know what I care about, actually? I actually care, and I think one of the things that makes America great is that an immigrant from Uganda can get the mayoral nomination for a major political party in the most iconic of American cities. I find it perverse he can do so by running on values anathema to the United States, but that an immigrant can rise to become mayor of the most iconic of American cities actually is what makes this country great. What makes this perverse is that he, of course, can't recognize that himself and is hostile to the values of this country. But candidate quality matters. And I recognize there were a lot of people who were running for mayor of New York City, but they couldn't all get traction. And essentially it boiled down to, do I vote for Andrew Cuomo, who was driven from office due to sexual harassment and letting people's grandmothers die? Or do I vote for the socialist? I mean, it's a hell of a choice, isn't it? Hey, vote for me. I may have killed your grandmother, but I won't kill your city. Didn't fly with a lot of the Democrats, and a lot of the Democrats, frankly, are fully on board, radicalized against Donald Trump, in favor of illegal immigration, and in favor of hunting down the Jews. Buddy of mine in New York City actually pinned a piece today and said, if we're not safe here, where are we safe? He's Jewish. And he's concerned about a man who wants to globalize the Intifada becoming the mayor of New York City. By the way, you should know that major New York real estate stocks in New York City are crashing today. The reality is that if he does get elected in November, and he'll be stopped by a coalition, but if he does get elected in November, and he goes through with, like, he wants to state-owned grocery stores. We saw that in the Soviet Union. It didn't work out well. He literally wants to defund the police. And when Democrats said defunding the police doesn't actually mean getting rid of the police, he actually said, yes, actually it does mean just that, get rid of the police. He wants to do those things. If he does do those things, and let's be honest here, it's all talk until you try to do it and see if you can get these things done. We'll see if he actually can, if he gets elected, and we don't know that he's going to get elected, but if he does, we'll see. But I honestly, it's New York City. It doesn't affect me. And I know that really it's New York City. You should be concerned. No, I'm not concerned about Chicago electing a communist. I'm not concerned about L.A. electing an incompetent mayor. I'm not concerned about California electing Gavin Newsom. My only concern is that a bunch of liberal people pack up and move to my state and never learn the lesson from their state. Not really concerned with it. What I am concerned with is the quality of candidates. Because candidate quality matters. You know, there's a rumor in Georgia that Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to run for governor of the state. That's why she separated herself from Donald Trump. It gives you a sense of how her politics, or perhaps her gut in politics, maybe is not as good as some people think, that she decided to separate herself from the president on an 80-20 issue when he's on the 80% side. And she went to we're going to have World War III if he does this, and he did it, and we didn't have World War III. A lot of conservatives in Georgia got mad at me when I suggested during the Senate primary against John Ossoff running against Herschel Walker that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't a good idea to nominate a man who was credibly accused by his ex-wife of holding a gun to her head. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to nominate a guy who had a history of mental illness, God bless him, but it wasn't going to be good. And a bunch of friends of mine said, no, we got to trust Donald Trump, trust Donald Trump, trust Donald Trump. You just hate Donald Trump. Trump derangement syndrome. You're not MAGA. He's MAGA. Herschel Walker is good. Democrats will never win the state of Georgia. That's what they told me. Democrats will never. We now have two senators in Washington, D.C. for the state of Georgia who are Democrats, in large part because the Republicans nominated Herschel Walker, who in the primary, I warned them, had so much baggage. You all knew the baggage. You didn't want to make eye contact with the baggage. Independent voters could not hold their nose vote for him, and we've now stuck with two Democrats. And none of you people who attacked me for being anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, Trump derangement syndrome, all this stuff, none of you have ever acknowledged that, yes, he was a deeply flawed candidate who had held a gun to his ex-wife's head. Had he been honest about his mental health? Yes, but it's a bridge too far for a lot of voters, and you're an idiot if you can't understand that a lot of voters don't really want to vote for a guy who held a gun to his wife's head. In the same way, Democrats in New York City were really, really stupid thinking that Andrew Cuomo, a man who killed their grandmothers, would be the savior from a socialist candidate. Quality matters. And so for everyone who is worked up about this Mamdani guy getting elected, and oh my gosh, who was the choice? Who was the alternative? A man who literally, well, not literally, but figuratively killed their grandmothers, locked their grandmothers up in hospitals, wouldn't let them hold their hand as they died of COVID, sexually harassed people on his staff. Andrew Cuomo was your alternative? Of course Cuomo wasn't going to win. Candidate quality matters. Look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma has this Drummond guy. He's the Attorney General of Oklahoma. He's a self-funder. He just might win the Republican primary in Oklahoma. This guy is a liberal. He attacks the current popular governor in Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt. Kevin Stitt is a great governor in Oklahoma. The Attorney General has more than once made snide remarks about him on social media. You know what the Attorney General of Oklahoma did, folks? You know what the Attorney General of Oklahoma's claim to fame is? He shut down a Christian charter school and convinced 4 members of the Supreme Court to do it, including Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor and Eleni Kagan. He was on the side of Ketanji Brown Jackson. He shut down a Christian charter school effort in Oklahoma. The Attorney General, the Republican Attorney General in Oklahoma, was against Christians in Oklahoma. And this guy is a self-funder, and he could win a Republican primary. And I'm looking at this and say, why would Republicans be excited about a guy who went after Christians to be governor? And people are, well, Oklahoma is the most Republican state of the union. You know what? I heard that about plenty of other states that ultimately got a lot of voters to not be able to vote. It's just absurd. I mean, you really, guys, need to think about the people that you are putting up for nominations. Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia, it'd be a Herschel Walker situation all over again. You know, the number of independent voters in Georgia who lean to the right, who do not want to vote for a woman who believes the Jews have space lasers. The Republican Attorney General of Oklahoma, he's got a lot of money to dump into the race. He's a self-funder, but he's also a liberal. And all of his money in the world can't hide the fact that he was on the side of atheists against Christians and got the progressives on the Supreme Court to side with him and shut down a Christian charter school. Look at Texas. I'm concerned about Texas and Ken Paxton because, you know, Ken Paxton regularly wins re-election in Texas, but Ken Paxton has also been under investigation by the feds. They've attempted to impeach him. He's a very polarizing figure. We can't afford to lose the Senate. And Republicans in Texas look like they're going to pick him over John Cornyn. And I am not a John Cornyn fan. I honestly think John Cornyn needs to get out of the Senate and let somebody else run the race. I'm just not sure Paxton's the guy in a general election, as the number of independent voters in Texas show more and more comfort voting for the Democrats. If it's wise for a polarizing figure like that in a presidential year when there's going to be a massive increase in voting. On the other side, in 2024, Donald Trump won. Now, not a presidential year, an off-year election, when the party out of power tends to overwhelm everyone else. I'm a little bit concerned with Paxton. Even like the Republican politicos I know who don't like Cornyn are like, he's very alienating and we could lose. There's lots of polling out showing Ken Paxton beating John Cornyn in the primary and then losing the election, the general election. And there are so many Republicans who convince themselves that they will never lose general elections in places like Texas. That's what they said in Georgia and with Herschel Walker. Candidate quality matters, people. Candidate quality matters. Drummond in Oklahoma, too liberal, but self-funds enough people think he's a conservative because they pay attention to his money and his ad campaign, not to his record. How do you, as a Republican running in Oklahoma, attack your current popular governor? Paxton in Texas, he's a polarizing figure. It's going to be an off-year election. Democrats will turn out at a high rate in off-year elections. They always do. Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia, y'all, candidate quality matters. You know, I realize it's Democrats who said it, but they were brilliant strategists. They actually, unlike many of you, got a man elected president, Paul Begala and James Carville. They got Bill Clinton elected president of the United States twice. They got Bill Clinton elected president of the United States against the most popular president in American history after George Washington. I'm not making that up. After the Gulf War, George H.W. Bush was polling at 90 to 93%, according to the polling. 90 to 93%. Mario Cuomo was supposed to be the guy the Democrats ran for president. He was the savior of the Democratic Party. And Mario Cuomo looked at George H.W. Bush's poll numbers, said, I'm not running against the guy. Well, then the economy turned. Bill Clinton had stepped into the fray. Bill Clinton hired James Carville and Paul Begala. They wrote a book on running for office, and one of the points that they made that I'll never forget is a great book on how to run for office. Said your goal is to win the election, not the primary. Your goal is to win the election, not the primary. And there are candidates who will do everything possible to win the primary in ways that then cost them the general election. You've got to win the general election. I don't know what will happen in New York City. Maybe there will be some broad coalition. The Cuomo voters, the Eric Adams voters, the Trump supported. You know, here's the thing. The downside for Mamdani is, you know, the area of New York City that swung the furthest to the right in the presidential election was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's congressional district in Brooklyn. Massive swing of non-white voters to the GOP. What if these people all show up in November and build a coalition and they all unite around pro-business Democrats and Jews and make sure the guy doesn't get elected? It could happen. Candidate quality matters. And running a far-left socialist, maybe it'll undermine him in the general. People are like, it's New York City. They'll never do it. They elected Rudy Giuliani in the 90s. They elected Eric Adams, who was running a pro-law enforcement guy. Bloomberg got elected twice up there. Candidate quality matters. You can't just take for granted that my state is solidly Republican or my state is solidly Democrat, because solid Democratic states and solid Republican states, with very few exceptions, also do need independent-oriented voters who don't identify with either party to come vote for them. Your candidate quality is going to matter in the general election. You need to find someone who is a good fit, who actually has principles and a vision, but who doesn't alienate people. You got to be careful about alienating voters. Mamdani perhaps will alienate enough voters that he doesn't get elected in November. I'm in the camp that says he probably is. He's definitely the front runner, but events do change things as well. The rest of you, though, as you head to your primaries in the coming year, whether you're in Oklahoma or Texas or Georgia, you got to be careful. Can I pick a guy, just honestly look myself in the mirror and say, this guy can actually bring over enough independence to win a general election? Or this gal? Because you don't want to give the Democrats easy wins. I had dinner last night with the CEO of Vision Computer, and the other CEO was there, was the head of Old Glory Bank, my buddy Mike Ring, and they started Old Glory Bank during the Biden administration, and he was talking last night about how the regulators during the Biden administration went out of their way to try to not get them started, and they kept with it. They kept working. They kept on. They're one of the very few new banks chartered in the United States in the last decade because they kept with it. The regulators in Washington are so lazy, they just try to stop banks from being chartered so they don't have to worry about regulation. And Old Glory Bank fought them, and they won. Old Glory Bank, for perspective now, is the fastest growing bank in modern American history, and I'm not making that up. They started with zero, and they're already at $250 million in accounts in about a year. It's been remarkable growth. People trust Old Glory Bank. They're moving their businesses to Old Glory Bank. They're moving their personal accounts to Old Glory Bank. I'm one of those people who moved my business to Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank would love to have your business or for your home, for your family, for your kids. It's oldglorybank.com/Eric. They are a bank by conservatives for conservatives. They are a bank built on the idea that you should have freedom in your checking and savings accounts. You should have reasonable costs that aren't taking advantage of you, that you're looking for a bank that's not making money off of you, but a bank that's going to allow you to make money and enjoy your money. And that's Old Glory Bank. Go to oldglorybank.com/Eric. oldglorybank.com/Eric. They've got reasonable fees, reasonable rates, fantastic customer service for businesses and individuals. oldglorybank.com/Eric. oldglorybank.com/Eric. And then the lawyers make me say, members FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. What the lawyers don't make me say, but I want you to know, is they really are my bank, and I love them, and you will too.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New crash in Marietta, 75 southbound, just past the South 120 loop. Exit number 263, Hero Police on scene. Right now, they're holding the left lane. Hopefully, you're going to get this off to the right, but it is slowing the ride as you head down to 285 in the Truist Park region. Crash in Duluth, 85 southbound, past Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. Hero just blocked the right lane, but is also pulling away, so everything's back open there. You're slowing, leaving Highway 316. And just picked up new trouble over on the West Freeway, inbound I-20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway. Crashed in at least one left lane, starting to slow the ride back toward Lithia Springs. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News, hoping with Paws Atlanta to find a home for our WSB Dog of the Month. Flapjack this month, about 2 years old, curious but not too rowdy, and something unique we want you to hear about too. Our sponsor Finley Roofing will pay the adoption fee, so meet Flapjack at WSBRadio.com/dog.
Every year for the 4th of July, my family invites over friends, and I get a big box of burgers and Franks from Omaha Steaks, and we grill out. It's going to be the same this year. Right now, for the 4th of July sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks. Just like me, I don't get a special. I take the discount as well. And you can use the promo code ERIC at checkout and get an extra $45 off. So it's already 50% off site-wide. And then you put in ERIC as your promo code, and you get $45 extra off, minimum order required. You get unparalleled quality from Omaha Steaks. It's deliciousness. Get the burgers, get the gourmet jumbo franks. You can get the sides, everything you need. You can even get steaks. We do this every year. It's become a family tradition. Start your own family tradition with Omaha Steaks. Again, 50% off site-wide right now. And if you go to omahasteaks.com with the 50% off site-wide, you get an extra $45 off if you use ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. omahasteaks.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray Or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-Ray, or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. So how about that ranked choice voting? Huh? How about it? My nerd friends love ranked choice voting. And I got to tell you, I mean, to a person, the nerds love ranked choice voting. On the left and the right, if you are a Poindexter type with a pocket protector, you love ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is what they do in New York City, is what they do in Alaska, where you get all the candidates and you pick. I want, this is my first choice, this is my second choice, this is my third choice, this is my fourth choice. All right, your first choice loses, so now let's add up your second choice. Your second choice loses, let's see where all the third choice. It's a complicated mess. It breeds conspiracy theories, and also it was argued that it would bring out moderation. Not exactly the case in New York City, is it? Not exactly the case. I'm not a fan of ranked choice voting. I think it just is way too complicated for most people to understand. And it breeds conspiracy theories. And nope, not a fan, and you shouldn't be either. And I think we should get rid of it. And I'm sorry to my nerd friends. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but no, bad idea. Let's talk about Africa for a minute, because I saw this on social media from a think tank leader about African nations. When newly independent African nations in the 60s and 70s were seizing mines and farms in the name of the people, Botswana's leaders, Botswana's in southern Africa, looked at the same playbook and said no thanks. They partnered 50-50 with De Beers, the diamond mining company, instead of kicking them out. They let mining experts run operations while making sure diamond wealth benefited citizens. They built roads and schools instead of revolutionary propaganda centers. Most importantly, they protected property rights. Guess what? Botswana has gone from one of Africa's poorest countries to middle-income status in a single generation. Consistent growth, while all the countries that embrace socialism around them have collapsed. Isn't that remarkable? Botswana chose to protect private property rights and collaborate with corporations, and the household income in Botswana has exploded. The countries that rejected private property rights and embraced socialism, are all collapsing now. Just another example of why free markets and capitalism are the best system out there. We got a lot more in store for you today. I'll take your phone calls as well. 877-973-7425. When we come back, Daddy Trump.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooks. Thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, Get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Our top local story, a deadly shooting in Henry County. It's being investigated as a domestic incident.
Upon arrival at a home on Weymouth Drive, Locust Grove police officers heard shots being fired and began to go inside.
As they were fixing to make entry, the suspect came out the front door and surrendered.
Chief Derek Austin says police then found 2 other people inside the home. An adult male was dead from a gunshot wound. An adult female was severely injured and taken to the hospital. They all appear to be acquainted.
I do not know the relationship of all these people, but I do know they were all living in this one house.
The suspect now in custody. The circumstances of what led to the shootings now under investigation. Graham Keel, 95.5 WSB.
All right, your weather for today. It is another hot one, headed for a high of 97 degrees. A pop-up shower storm late in the day is possible, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Some of those storms could be severe. Check back for updates. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. 1 person and 3 dogs killed in a Snellville house fire.
When firefighters arrive at the home on Roundstone Trail, they attempt to rescue a person trapped inside, but the roof collapses, forcing them to retreat. Once it's safe to go in, they find the victim.
Quickly removed that patient outside, took them to a medical crew standing by where they were transported to the hospital, and that person was pronounced dead.
Captain Ryan McGibbony with the Gwinnett County Fire Department says a cat inside the home was rescued and is receiving treatment. Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
In Brookhaven, police are hoping the public can help them find 3 suspects involved in a shooting that killed a 15-year-old earlier this month. The shooting took place near the McDonald's on Claremont Road on the night of June 14th. Lieutenant Carlos Nino with Brookhaven Police telling us that they're releasing a video showing the suspects.
We're hoping that this newly discovered video will trigger some memories.
And no arrests have been made yet. There is a $10,000 reward being offered in this case. Anybody with information being asked to contact Crime Stoppers. And today is decision day for 2 DeKalb County cities as they look to establish millage rates, which will have a direct impact on property taxes for businesses and homeowners. We, of course, will be watching that. Check back for updates. It is 1:02.
Y'all, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
678 ESOG now.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties or buy 2, get 2 free with your card. Limit 8. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just 1 visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just 1 visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
All the notifications you need.
This story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Sounding a travel advisory on the west side. This is I-20 eastbound. Crash past Riverside Parkway, exit 46, right adjacent to the theme park there. 2 left lanes are blocked. You're stacked up out of Lithia Springs. Use Highway 78 as an alternate. Earlier crash in Marietta, 75 southbound past the South 120 loop exit 263. Now off to the right, and 85 south still slow from through Duluth. Multiple crashes between Pleasant Hill and Beaver Ruin have moved to the right shoulder. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, high 97. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms, some of which may be strong to severe with damaging wind gusts. The main impacts. The storms fizzle out for tonight, lows in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up storms, high 95.
And by the way, we are under a heat advisory in Metro Atlanta. It's in effect through 8 o'clock tonight. As we take a look around the area, sunny and 94 in Milton, 93 in Snellville. Covington, you have sunshine at 95 degrees. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Three, two, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, conversationalists. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. I'm delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Daddy Trump. That's it, Daddy Trump. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, referred to Donald Trump as Daddy. In a somewhat humorous exchange with a reporter, Donald Trump got asked about being called Daddy by the NATO chief.
It's from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you Daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, as an aside, she asked him about that, and Marco Rubio is standing behind him and literally bends over laughing.
Likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? No?
Do you
He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own without...
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning. And
It's from Sky News.
So the NATO chief sent Donald Trump a text message that Donald Trump then put on social media. Here's a rule of thumb with Donald Trump. Anything you say can come back. Anything you say to him in private, he may choose to use in public. And you just got to understand, dealing with Donald Trump. I sent Donald Trump a letter when he was president the first time. And presidents, you can't just mail a letter to the president of the White House. You got to know how to do it. And his office gave me it's actually interesting. There's a post office box in Washington, D.C., and you send a letter there. It's got to be to a particular name, which I know and will not share. And if it goes to this mailbox and it's addressed to this person, they know it's for the president. They give it to him. And I was aware in writing the letter that it could become public. It did not, but it could have. It was very funny to me, knowing that. I mean, I was aware of that. I don't know that the head of NATO was. I assume he was. But he's essentially called Trump Daddy. that Donald Trump was like daddy. He was the NATO daddy. And it's not wrong. The United States leads NATO. And the fact that the NATO chief is willing to do this at a time there are some within the Trump administration who still think that we need to be out of NATO, it's actually not a bad thing, to be honest with you. Spain is now the bad boy of NATO because Spain has decided they don't actually need to spend any more money in NATO. They don't need to spend any more money on the defense. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they said that we all focus on Article 5 of the NATO treaty, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And Article 5 is you attack one, all are attacked. So you attack one NATO ally, you are attacking every NATO ally. And every NATO ally comes to defense. There's only been one time in global history Article 5 has been used. That was after the 9/11 attacks in New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington. The NATO allies covered our airspace. The rubber meets the road, though, in Article 3 of the NATO treaty. Article 3 of the NATO treaty. In order more effectively to achieve the objectives of this treaty, the parties, separately and jointly, by means of continuous and effective self-help and mutual aid, will maintain and develop their individual and collective capacity to resist armed attack. What does that mean? Put bluntly, every single nation within NATO commits to building up its military to such a degree that its military can not only repel an attack, but have enough mobilization to help other NATO countries also repel attack. We focus on Article 5, collective defense. We don't pay enough attention to Article 3, individual defense. The theory is that you build up your military to such a capacity that you have excess capacity so that if you're attacked and other NATO allies are attacked, you can spread out your resources to be able to defend yourself and help others under Article 5. And a lot of NATO allies over time have actually rested on the laurels of the United States and our largesse in spending in defense and our military bases in Europe to say we can actually grow our social services. We don't have to worry about our military. And along comes Donald Trump and says, hey, I've read Article 3. You got to worry about your own military. We got our own problems at home now. We got a massive national debt. We've been funding you guys' defense. Y'all got to take care of yourselves. We're going to help, but you got to take care of yourselves. Every NATO ally except Slovakia and Spain are now saying, yeah. No, every NATO ally is saying, yeah, okay, we got to build up our defense. And Slovakia and Spain are like, yeah, not really. It's not a coincidence that Spain has a far-left socialist government and Slovakia now has a government that is very Russia-friendly. The European Union countries and Great Britain are recognizing they've got to build up their defenses. The United Kingdom has just announced it's going to be purchasing fighters capable of carrying tactical nuclear weapons. The German chancellor gave an interesting speech at the start of NATO. He said, for too long, Germany has given lip service to leadership while abdicating national choice to Russia. What he meant by that is that the Germans have allowed the Russians to essentially control Germany through their power grid, through access to natural gas, through access to power. The Russians have been able to dictate terms to Germany just by a robust supply of natural gas that the Germans have chosen not to extract themselves from Germany. And he says that's got to change. That he's looking at the Baltic republics, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and seeing the Russian threat there. You know, the Latvians and the Lithuanians have just walked away from the UN landmine treaty. The Latvians, the Lithuanians, and the Estonians are expected to they're starting to landmine their border with Russia. They're starting to feel the threat from Russia. It doesn't get a lot of press coverage in the United States, but the Norwegians, the Swedes, and particularly the Finns have been experiencing sabotage of their power grids and their telecommunication systems, and they all know it's the Russians. The Finns, just a few weeks ago, arrested a group of Russians that were near a power transformer substation. They claimed that they had gotten lost. They were hiking and got lost. That was their cover story. They had on them the means to be able to sabotage the power substation. We all feel very safe here by and large. I know there are people who catastrophize everything. I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday. He's like, I got a couple friends. They're all white women, and they're just all convinced that everything is a conspiracy, that there's some global cabal pulling the strings. I was like, yeah, because they sleep better at night, thinking that there are people in charge of all the bad things happening, that there's random bad things that can happen. It's true. It is absolutely true. There are people who have to be convinced that that this is so. So Horatio Spafford had been a successful lawyer. He had invested in property in the area of Chicago that was damaged in the Great Fire, and his business interests were significantly affected and then further hit by an economic downturn in 1873. Spafford planned to travel to England with his family on the Ville de Havre, a ship. He was going to help Dwight Moody. You know, Moody International, the Christian evangelical program. Yeah, Dwight Moody was doing evangelistic campaigns in Europe in post-Civil War, 1870s. And Horatio Spafford lost everything. His properties in Chicago were wiped out by the fire. His other business interests were hit by an economic downturn. He wanted to go to England to help Dwight Moody, the Christian evangelist. He decided to send his wife, Anna, and their 4 daughters, Annie, Maggie, Bessie, and Tanetta, ahead of him, while he stayed home to deal with zoning concerns related to rebuilding his businesses in the Chicago fire. They were crossing the Atlantic. The SS Ville de Havre crashed into the Loch Earn, another ship. 226 people were killed. All of his daughters died. His wife survived. She sent him what became a very famous telegram. Saved. Alone. He got on board a ship to go to England to meet his wife. They were alone because all their children had died on this ship. And he wrote what you and I know as "It is well with my soul. When peace like a river attends my way, when sorrow like sea billows roll, whatever my lot you've taught me to know, it is well with my soul." That's the origin of the song, as he was sailing over the spot where the Ville de Havre had sunk, where his daughters had died. He penned that song, "It is well with my soul. Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let the blessed assurance control that Christ has regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul." Now, what does all this have to do with NATO and all that? There are people who are convinced that there are diabolical people pulling the strings in the world because they can't accept that bad things happen. Had that ship sunk and it was 2025 because his wife Anna was a well-to-do white woman, she would have been convinced that it was a global cabal and an economic conspiracy that caused that ship to sink, because particularly white women today are convinced that all strings are attached in some way. You can't just let bad things happen. You can't just let bad things happen. The bad things that happen, it's got to be part of a global, sinister conspiracy, because you sleep better at night. You know you do. You sleep better at night thinking that there are bad people doing things rather than that events are outside of our control. Because if a bad person is causing the ship to sink, you know that it's inside the control of someone to let it sink or not. But if it just sinks, if it's just an accident, you can't sleep well at night because the world is an unstable place. The world is an unstable place. But not everything is a conspiracy, and so many people get distracted by so many wild conspiracy theories these days of things that are outside their control, trying to rationalize as inside their control. They're missing that there actually are bad things happening with bad people in charge, like in Russia, sabotaging places in Europe. And thank God we have a president of the United States who recognizes the Europeans have got to get with it because bad things are probably coming. And the Europeans need to be prepared. We have grown-up leadership, and the left hates Donald Trump. I criticize him regularly, but I don't hate him. I disagree with things. I'd like tariffs. But the man is a realist enough to know when the Russians are sabotaging the power grid in Finland, Norway, and Sweden, they're probably up to no good and probably have larger ambitions. It's good that the president has gone to Europe to demand that NATO pull its weight, to demand that European allies lift up, that the German chancellor realizes Germany's got to spend more money, that the anti-war British prime minister realizes they need jets that could haul nuclear weapons. Something wicked this way comes. You feel it. It's not the conspiracies. It's not the sinister cabal. It's just nations of competing interests recognizing that the United States is not on its A game, trying to take advantage of it. And you got the president of the United States showing we are on our A game in Iran. And you got the American media, the Democrats, saying, ha, didn't do what we thought it would, you sucker. Go bomb some more. I'm glad, for all of my criticisms of things I disagree with Trump, I'm glad we have grown-ups in the White House who are willing, despite their opposition to foreign engagements, they're willing to do what must be done to keep the United States safe. You can't say that for Joe Biden. You couldn't say that for Kamala Harris. It's a good thing Donald Trump is president compared to them.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
121 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues on the West Freeway inbound. Crash in 2 left lanes, 20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. Stacked up before Thornton Road, use Highway 78. Once you get past that, approaching the west side perimeter, stalled Big Rig in the right lane, 20 eastbound before 285, exit 51. And now a new travel advisory in Marietta. Found this crash in 2 left lanes, 75 southbound before Delk Road, exit 261. You're slowing back toward North Marietta Parkway. Think about Highway 41, Cobb Parkway is an alternate. All lanes blocked and reopened downtown. Crash moved all to the right. 7585 north past I-20. Traffic brought to you by your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy. Kroger Pharmacy welcomes Express Script Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. You can transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/payer-update. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News, depend on the WSB traffic team to get you around any big issues. Plus, weather will escape these 90-degree days anytime soon. And Christina Edwards' 5-day forecast.
Hey, y'all, it's Erick Erickson here. Do you know the difference between strategy and tactics? As somebody ran campaigns, I always find people sometimes they engage in tactics. We steer the ship left and then right, starboard, port, left, right, slow down, speed up. But do you make sense of it? The strategy is the overall picture of how you want to accomplish your goal. And then the tactics are the individual things you do to accomplish the strategy to meet your goal. And when you're dealing with your retirement, you need a financial advisor who understands that. That's David Nicholas, Nicholas Wealth Management. My wife and I actually sat down with David and mapped out our goals for the future and our retirement and realized that we had engaged in a series of tactics, but we really didn't have a comprehensive overall strategy that made it work. You want a comprehensive overall strategy so that when you hit retirement, well, you've met your goals. And David Nicholas can help you do that. You sit down with David today, and he can give you a free wealth analysis. Christy and I did this with him. You can do this with him, and you're going to get a strategy. You're not just going to have a financial advisor who's deploying a bunch of tactics without the overall strategy to get you to meet your goal. Talk to David and his team at nicholaswealth.com. Call them at 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and particular needs of any person who listens to this show. Eric Erickson is a current client and is paid for this ad.
Love is the most powerful force in the world. Real love, that is. Real love gives more than it takes, commits more than it demands. Real love is a decision, not a feeling. It's action, not emotion. It's self-sacrifice for the well-being of others. God himself is this love, and he sent Jesus because he loves us. Would you consider getting in on it, receiving it, and then giving it wildly to those around you? This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see Get a Phone on Us, get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. ICE, Department of Homeland Security, Immigration, Customs, Border Patrol, they have found illegal immigrants from the nation of Iran inside the United States, some of them with ties to Hezbollah. Jed Johnson was the Homeland Security Secretary for Barack Obama. He's actually a pretty good guy who cares pretty greatly about national security, to the extent he was willing to go on Fox News and sit down with them and talk about this issue.
This is just another account of the failed Biden border policies that we have to deal with right now, right?
I put it this way, Lawrence. The presence in this country of undocumented migrants or Iranian nationals who have links to Hezbollah, IRGC, is, in my judgment, a domestic law enforcement concern of the highest magnitude. I hope and expect that the FBI, my old department, DHS, are laser focused on this right now. There have been the 16 arrests in the last couple of days, but that's not necessarily all of them. My educated speculation is that law enforcement has been tracking these individuals for a while in this country to follow leads, to see who they are in contact with. But I'm glad to see these 16 off the streets.
16 of them that came here, illegal aliens with ties to Hezbollah, the IRGC, and others. The Biden administration let them in the country. Absolutely bizarre. Y'all, I got to tell you about some good friends of mine. In fact, I was on a phone call with Americans for Prosperity this morning until their building caught on fire. It was kind of I was having a meeting with some of the guys at AFP. They're like, we got to get off the phone. There literally is like the offices wasn't their offices. It was somebody else in their building. Their office was on fire and the whole building was being evacuated. Americans for Prosperity is the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They actually did 300,000, they were telling me in the last month, 300,000 points of contact with members of Congress from activists around the country over this tax bill in Congress. And just last month, they are really energized, trying to get some common sense conservative solutions passed. And they want you on board. They want as many voices heard. Go to protectprosperity.com today. Protect Prosperity. Americans for Prosperity wants to get you involved and engaged in the fight for freedom in the country. Protectprosperity.com. You can go sign up today and connect to your members of Congress very easily.
If you drive a Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, or any European import, come see us at Rocco's European Garage. Better value than the dealership, honest and all-in pricing with customer approval prior to us beginning, and our services won't void the manufacturer's warranty. Rocco's European Garage.
Only inches separate you from the heavy rain trying to infiltrate your home. If your old roof is leaking, think of Findlay First for a remarkable roof replacement. Schedule a free roof analysis. FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof, roof. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather, traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. One person killed in a house fire in Snellville. Captain Ryan McGivney with Gwinnett Fire says firefighters did try to rescue a person trapped inside the home on Roundstone Trail.
While attempting that rescue, there was a structural collapse of the roof system, forcing our crews to withdraw for their own safety.
And once the firefighters got inside that house, they found the victim, but he died at the hospital. 3 dogs also killed in that fire. The cause of the blaze under investigation. Hot and humid again today. Highs around 97. A chance of a few showers and storms later on. Locust Grove police investigating a deadly shooting on a quiet street in Henry County.
Officers could hear the firearm being discharged in the residence. They also observed rounds were coming through the back of the house, from inside the house, shooting through the house towards the rear.
And Locust Grove Police Chief Derek Austin says the suspect came out, surrendered. He's now behind bars. A man was found dead in an upstairs bedroom. A woman was found upstairs in a bathroom. She had significant injuries. She is now in the hospital this afternoon. President Trump says he did not discuss a ceasefire when he talked with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the NATO summit as they work to end the war.
Vladimir Putin has been more difficult. Frankly, I had some problems with Zelensky. You may have read about him. And it's been more difficult than other wars.
Talking to reporters in the Netherlands, Trump said that he will be speaking to Russian President Vladimir Putin soon. The president said he had a nice conversation with Zelensky, and he believes the Ukrainian leader wants the war to end as soon as possible. The market for new homes is starting to spiral. The Census Bureau confirming sales of single-family houses last month came in at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of $623,000. That's nearly 14% below the April figure. It's 132.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There's so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
Did you know that D. Geller & Son Jewelers has been Atlanta's engagement ring and wedding band destination since 1939? It's Katie Kiley, and it's easy to know why. They've handpicked diamonds that just shine brighter at a value that can't be beat. D. Geller's got an unbelievable selection of engagement rings and wedding bands, from classic to modern to off the wall, because you like what you like. They can bring your dream ring to life like they have mine, with full custom abilities. D. Geller & Son, Kennesaw and Sandy Springs, and at dgeller.com.
All right, live team coverage, traffic and weather. Alex Williams.
Travel advisory on the West Freeway continues. Crash 2 left lanes, 20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. Use Highway 78. And a travel advisory in Marietta. Crash also in 2 left lanes, 75 southbound before Delk Road, exit 261. You're slow back toward Highway 5. You can use Highway 41 Cobb Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, high 97. Scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms later this afternoon with damaging wind gusts, the main impacts.
Next news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. There is an aspect of the Mamdani election in New York City that I do want to dwell on. And this is actually a little bit of broken record time for me. And because I feel real strongly about it. And I know I've talked about this before. I need to talk about it again. You need to bear with me here, because one of the data points about this election in New York City that you must fundamentally understand, and by the way, this is one of the things, you don't have to believe me. You can see the data for yourself. And if you understand the map in New York City, you will understand that when Stephen Miller, the White House advisor, says this is about immigration and immigrants fundamentally transforming communities to be able to get this Ugandan Muslim socialist, the Democratic nomination, that's not true. And I need you to understand, there are so many people who are invested in talking points and narratives about talking points that they don't actually get what's going on here. If you look at the neighborhoods in New York City where Andrew Cuomo got the vote versus where Mamdani got the vote, it was white liberals and Asian voters who voted for Mamdani. It was black and Hispanic voters and working class white voters and Jews who voted for Andrew Cuomo. And the non-white immigrants and the working class whites were outnumbered by the good white progressives of New York City. There is a level of white progressive who is convinced that the non-white immigrants are too stupid to vote for their own interests. And you hear this all the time. So these good white progressives are going to vote for the interests of the working class, they think. The working class want freedom and competition. It's the good white people who have the money to escape the travails of socialism. But there is something else in the demographic as well. The areas of the city of New York that voted for Mamdani also are the areas of the city with the largest reports of anti-Semitism. Yeah, the good white progressives are totally happy to have the anti-Semites in their area. The Jewish enclaves voted against him. It wasn't enough to stop him. I saw a progressive activist on social media last night say, look, even the Jews wanted this guy. The largest enclave of Jews went for Mamdani. And my friend Bethany Mendel, I think it was her, replied, "No, you idiot. That's the largest enclave of Jews in New York, and we're still outnumbered by the anti-Semites in our own neighborhood." You know, for somebody who says I don't care about the New York City election, I guess I have spent more on it. And I don't really care about the Democrats' New York City voting, but I do care about the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States. This guy is a Shiite Muslim who actually embraces the ideology of the Iranian regime. He wants to globalize the Intifada. The left is now trying to downplay what it means to globalize the Intifada. The globalize the Intifada is a call for violent persecution of Jews in the world. And the people who are trying to rearrange the language and say, no, it doesn't really mean that. Yeah, they know damn well what it means. They just don't want to be honest about it, because honesty would rise repudiation. But there are a lot of good white progressives in this country who just have decided they're anti-Semites. In fact, some of them have Jewish last names, but they have nothing in common with Jewish people, and they are willing to fuel the anti-Semitism of the West. They're willing to fuel the anti-Semitism of the United States. They are willing to fuel the anti-Semitism of the class warriors and the racial hustlers of New York City and around the country, and we should all be concerned about that. Anti-Semitism is a canary in the coal mine. Camille Paglia is a, she's the writer, she's the lesbian writer and art history professor who years ago I read an article where she was saying she shows a picture in her class, a painting of Moses parting the Red Sea. It's just a man with the staff in the air and the sea in front of him parting, separating. And she noted that every year fewer and fewer kids recognize that it's Moses parting the Red Sea, that we've lost a common vernacular, we've lost a common idiomatic expression, parting the Red Sea. What does that mean? Where does it come from? We've lost a common vernacular in this country. We've lost idiomatic expressions. We are divided and we are tribal. And in the process, anti-Semitism has been creeping back in, and people don't even recognize it. The canary in the coal mine phrase. People don't understand where it comes from. I don't know whether it was real or not, but allegedly in the coal mines, they would take birds, often canaries. Canaries have a very sweet sound. And if the canary died, it was a warning sign that you needed to get out of the mines. The air was poisoned, and it affected the canary before it affected the miners, because the miners were bigger and had bigger lungs, and they would leave when the canary died. Anti-Semitism is the canary in the coal mine. When a city like New York City, that is has one of the largest Jewish populations in the United States, elects an anti-Semite, it's not because the Jews voted for the guy, it's because the Jews were outnumbered. And the other people didn't care. And let's be real clear here. The people who voted, they voted not because they're anti-Semites, but because they don't really care about their neighbor. You don't impose socialism on a community if you actually care about your neighbors, because socialism is cruelty masked as compassion. And it's what the Democratic Party is doing around the country. So in my group chat with some friends, and one of them says, I may be in the minority, but I'm actually glad this guy got elected because of what it's going to do to the Democratic Party. And I'm with him, to be honest with you. And I see people say, be careful what you're wishing for. Well, this guy can't be president because he's an immigrant. They're like, be careful what you're wishing for because, they said the same thing about Trump. Look at John Podesta, funded Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys remember this. In 2015, the Clinton campaign made a conscious effort to fund resources to elevate Donald Trump, thinking that if he got the Republican nomination, he'd be super easy to beat. Well, guess what happened? I think the Democratic Party is increasingly alienating itself from the average American. I think the Democratic Party is increasingly out of touch with the values of just normal Americans. And I want to be real clear here. I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm not talking about conservatives. I'm not talking about Trump supporters. I'm not talking about people who listen to Eric Erickson on the radio. I'm talking about normal Americans who do not care about politics. They're just living their lives. And when the Democrats are all about propping up the anti-Semites, harassing the Jews, putting boys into girls' locker rooms and sports, depriving girls of competitive scholarships because the boys are getting them in girls' sports, focused on abortion on demand, I think more and more Americans lose faith in the Democrats as a governing coalition, and that actually helps the GOP. Actually helps Donald Trump. There are people who don't like Donald Trump who voted for him in 2024 because they thought even though I don't like him, he's better than the other side. We're headed to midterm elections where typically the party out of control does better than the party that controls the White House. And I'm wondering if the Democrats are really going to have a great time because they're becoming so fringe. They are becoming so catering to the far left that is more and more out of touch. And I don't believe the United States as a whole collectively has done this. We've lost control of major cities, but as we've lost control of major cities, normal Americans move out of those cities. Some of them are Democrats, but they're against that. You know, some of the loudest voices on the right now actually aren't on the right. They're just non-woke progressives. They're non-woke liberals who realize what the wokes are all about. And so they sound conservative today. They sound like they're on the right, and they're really not. I have a good relationship with the folks at the Free Press. Bari Weiss is outlet. She was at the New York Times. She's a liberal. She is a liberal. She's just not a woke progressive. And she understands that it's better to be on the side of the right now than to be siding with a bunch of woke progressives because she and I can disagree on issues, but we're not out to send each other to re-education camps. The left has lost the plot. And the other thing is, let's just say they do well in the midterms. You know what's happening right now? If you follow along with where Democratic primaries are headed next year, there's a really highly funded, coordinated effort to get moderate Democrats nominated. The Democrats are realizing within the Democratic Party they've got to fight the progressives. To the extent they lose, that helps the GOP. The fact that Democrat donors are now pouring money into Democratic races to find moderate people to challenge the progressives, it's a big signal that the Democratic Party understands that its base has gone too far. The warning sign should have been the casual embrace of anti-Semitism. The warning sign should be when the young activists are chanting things like globalize the Intifada and free Palestine, that the radicals are taking root within that party. To those of you who are Republicans, I want you to be mindful of and look at what's happening right now. Because all you have to be is not crazy. You don't have to cater to your fringe. And there's a fringe on the right. I know some, consider some friends, and they just think we need to behave just like the left. The left does all these ungodly, terrible things. We should act like them, but from the right. And like, no, just don't be crazy. Be normal. Be someone would want to have a beer with, and they'll probably vote for you as opposed to these insane nut jobs without a sense of humor. Don't be crazy. Don't be alienating. And you're going to win elections because people at the end of the day, the who do you want to have a beer with question probably has explained more election results than anything. Now Mamdani, he's a Muslim, so I doubt he drinks. But New York City Democrats offered voters a choice. Side with the guy who killed your grandmother or the socialist. They chose the socialist. I may understand where this is headed, but I also understand that when your choice is the man who killed your grandmother, you might reject him. It's a lesson for you Democrats out there who are concerned with the direction of your party. Your candidate quality matters too if you want to stop the radical progressives. But for the rest of us, if the Democrats aren't willing to stop the progressives, all you have to do is be a sane person you'd want to have a beer with And you're going to get elected even from people who don't particularly share your values or politics because they look at you on, I may not like everything this guy stands for, but he's not a crazy person. I've got to vote for him to stop the crazy person. And that gives us a latent advantage in politics right now. Now, you need a latent advantage and a patent advantage against nasty odors in your house. That's where the Eden Pure Thunderstorm comes in. You go to EdenPureDeals.com. You put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, and you will get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms. You will save $200, and you can thank me later because they really do work. Not only do they get rid of dust and pollen and pet dander and smoke, they get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. And not only do they get rid of 99.9% of viruses and bacteria, they get rid of 100% of odors because they generate ozone, which wipes out odors. And you can get 3 of them. One for your upstairs, your downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV, wherever you need. You can hold this thing in your hand. I keep one in my travel bag in case I'm in a hotel room where someone next door is smoking and they shouldn't be, or in a rental car where someone has smoked and it stinks. I can fire this thing up, walk away for a few minutes, it wipes out the odors, and it just works. You can plug it up with a USB cord. I powered it off my MacBook Pro's USB power. I have plugged it directly into the wall. It just works. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues in Cobb County. Crash 20 eastbound past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. Still in 2 left lanes. You're slow back toward Lee Road. Use Highway 78. Hopefully that crash will clear soon. And a travel advisory in Cobb County. This one in Marietta. Crash trying to clear out of 2 left lanes. 75 southbound before Delk Road, exit 261. Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, a good alternate there. Traffic brought to you by Sam's Club. Ready for some locked-in summer value at Sam's Club until July 22nd. Prices are held on over 1,000 items, including summer must-haves like ice cream. Sign up for a membership and join at samsclub.com/join. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Is your summer vacation going to be a week at the beach or a week in the backyard standing in the kiddie pool?
If you listen to 95.5 WSB, that week at the beach could be yours. It's $1,000 Thursdays on WSB.
Your chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursdays.
Listen for the keyword. Enter the keyword at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
Get all the info at WSBRadio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays beginning tomorrow.
From 95.5 WSB.
Where Atlanta wins.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. Now you can save time and make the most money and eliminate all hassles this summer. Hey, Sean Hannity, Mark Spain Real Estate can sell your home with the strongest all-cash offer in the industry and help you move on your timeline. With over 67,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast. Go to markspain.com and start packing.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Private Selection Angus 80% lean ground chuck is on sale. 16-ounce packages are $5.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
What is All Care? All Care is expert urgent care and primary care under a single roof, offering convenience and continuity for your healthcare needs. All Care is a team of physicians and clinicians who know you and your medical history, so they can provide the personalized care you deserve. And with both family and immediate care services offered 7 days a week, All Care means seeing your doctor on your schedule. 15 convenient locations, same-day appointments, and walk-ins welcome. Remember, urgent care plus primary care equals All Care. Learn more at allcare-ga.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Beaver Direct Certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Ever wish selling your house came with a bonus round? With Orchard, you get cash up front to buy your next place, then more when your old one sells. Check it out with a free valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Hello there. Welcome. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, y'all, I got a listener question, and you can email me the answer. Don't need to call in. Eric ERICK at EWErickson.com. So my son is busting his butt to do everything he needs to do to be able to get his driver's license before school starts. The vehicle he's interested in is the Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, I had a couple of listeners tell me they had engine problems, but I've been doing the research, and the current model looks to be fine, and it's got a 100,000-mile warranty. So question is, if any of you have a Hyundai Santa Fe, do you like it? Because I got my daughter a new vehicle. I decided I'm fortunate enough to be able to get my son one. And he's not mechanically inclined. I don't want to get him a used vehicle, and he's going to be driving back and forth to school in a couple years. So is the Santa Fe worth getting? Any of you have it and really like it? He doesn't want a giant SUV, but he doesn't want something tiny either. And what he really wants is a Mustang, and I will not be getting a 16-year-old boy a Mustang. That is his dream car. Which is kind of weird, you know, like, so my son and I have a lot of similar interests. He likes to play golf. I do too. I'm trying to get him golf lessons. He really loves classical music. He plays the cello and the piano, and he loves classical music. He also loves first-person shooter games like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Loves killing people and playing the cello. I'm like, yeah. He's a 16-year-old boy. Great sense of humor. Really good kid. You know, I found him in the backyard. He was, like, up close staring at his iPad in the pool one time, or in the hot tub. I was like, oh, God. What is my kid doing? He's in the hot tub. He's close to the iPad screen. He's staring. So I sneaked around the house, had his AirPods in, listening to something. He didn't want me to hear what it was. Didn't want anybody to hear. He's got his AirPods in. He's staring at the iPad. I was like, what are you watching in the hot tub? 16 years old. Go around the house, creep through the woods. He was watching a Tim Keller sermon on his iPad, completely engrossed. It was a Tim Keller sermon on creation. Completely engrossed in it. I'm like, you're a good kid. So I'm going to get him the Santa Fe, I think. But I would really love anybody's input on it who has it. Wants to go to Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama to be an architect, which is one reason I'm insisting he gets golf lessons, because if he's going to be an architect, he needs to get good at golf, because I think every architect I know is good at golf. And I'm terrible at golf, but getting better. And it kind of pains me that my kid might get better than me at golf. Because right now I'm way better than him. He's given me a concussion and amnesia before, hitting me in the side of the head with a golf club. Seriously, there are 2 weeks of my life I don't remember. I hear stories from people about those 2 weeks. I don't remember 2 weeks of my life. It is a very weird thing to like have a memory gap. Like you can see yourself on video, like our home security system from those 2 weeks. I don't remember any of it, and yet there I am. Was very argumentative and belligerent, too, I might add, during my concussive period. Nonetheless, if anybody's got any thoughts, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, at ewerickson.com. That's also where I get the hate mail, so fill me in, let me know what you think. When we come back, you know, the president did a big attack on the Federalist Society and Leonard Leo, and how he stopped taking advice from the Federalist Society on judges. It turns out, as the president is pouring forth judicial nominees to the Senate now for confirmation, they're all Federalist Society members. That's actually a good thing, and I want to explain to you why when we come back.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's Eric, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Erickson, where do I get a computer? I don't want to worry about the setup and all the tech support stuff. Y'all, you go to Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Listen, when you call Vision, you're not getting stuck in a maze of hold music or menus. They answer the phone 15 seconds on average. That's right, 15 seconds. Real people, real help, real fast, right when you need it. And here's the part I love. You got an older computer, you got programs you rely on. Maybe QuickBooks or a niche software for your small business. You're afraid a new computer means losing it all or spending days doing transfers. Vision Computers got you covered. As long as your software is supported in Windows 11, they can move all your programs from your old computer to the new one efficiently, safely, and fast. It's like handing off all the hassle to someone who's an expert and knows what they're doing. So if you're thinking your old computer is fine but slowing down, maybe time for a new one. Call 404-COMPUTE today. That's 404-COMPUTE. Let Vision Computers take care of everything. You're never going to want to buy a computer another way.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Brookhaven police hit a dead end in their investigation of a deadly shooting earlier this month that killed a 15-year-old boy. They're releasing a video today showing 3 suspects hoping for new clues.
We are requesting the public's help in any information that they may have about this shooting.
Lieutenant Carlos Nino with Brookhaven Police says the shooting took place near the McDonald's on Claremont Road on the night of June 14th. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. There is a reward of up to $10,000, and we posted the video of the suspects at WSBRadio.com. 96 degrees in Atlanta. Scattered pop-up showers and storms developing this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Locust Grove police investigated deadly shooting on a quiet street in Henry County.
Officers could hear the firearm being discharged in the residence. They also observed rounds were coming through the back of the house, from inside the house, shooting through the house towards the rear.
Locust Grove Police Chief Derek Austin says the suspect came out and surrendered. He is now in custody. A man was found dead in a downstairs bedroom. A woman was found upstairs with significant injuries. She is now in the hospital. One person is killed in a house fire in Snellville.
Gwinnett County firefighters respond to a blaze on Roundstone Trail.
The callers to the 911 center reported that they knew someone was inside the home and had not been able to escape.
Captain Ryan McGibbony says they attempted to enter a window on the second floor of the house when the roof collapsed, forcing firefighters to retreat. Once it was safe to go in, crews found the victim, who was rushed to the hospital where he died. 3 dogs also died. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Amanda Moyer, 95.5 WSB.
President Trump says he believes the conflict between Iran and Israel is over. Speaking at the NATO summit in the Netherlands today, the president says Iran's nuclear program is dead after U.S. airstrikes.
We want no nuclear, but we destroyed the nuclear. In other words, it's destroyed. I said Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up.
The president says he thinks Iran is done trying to create a nuclear weapon. An American Airlines flight is forced to return to Las Vegas after a loud boom and smoke started coming out of an engine. The FAA says Flight 1665 was bound for Charlotte, North Carolina. When the crew reported an engine issue, the plane returned safely. People on the ground heard a loud boom and shared video on social media of smoke coming from an engine. It is now 2:02. This This news is sponsored by Brett Becker's. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Reach-in closets, walk-in closets, pantry spaces, garages. With a custom spacious closet from Artisan, you'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. All your stuff neatly organized and designed to stay that way. Call the Closet Bomb Squad, Artisan Custom Closets. They'll diffuse your clutter and make it safe to enter your closet again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's 2:04 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center, it's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Some better news in Cobb County on I-20 eastbound. The crash at past Riverside Parkway exit 46. That has cleared out of the left lanes. Delays improving out of Lithia Springs. And in Marietta, better news as well. Crash cleared 75 southbound before Delk Road exit 261. Still a slow ride out of Kennesaw. That should start to get better. New stall in DeKalb County. It's in the center lane. 85 southbound at Pleasantdale Road, exit number 96. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid, high 97. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms, some of which may be strong to severe with damaging wind gusts. The main impacts. The storms fizzle out for tonight, lows in the mid-70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up storms, high 95.
95 right now in Conyers, 94 in Douglasville, and 91 in Kennesaw. Storm Tracker radar shows some rain in the North Georgia mountains, but nothing right now in the metro area. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. Hello to Will in Tulsa and KRMG. I see your tweet. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Some guy keeps calling. He's mad that I won't play clips of the Democratic mayoral nominee's statement on anti-Semitism. I asked if he had the internet on his phone. He said yes. So I said, look it up. My call screener having fun with calls. You know, it is clear and true that the Democratic mayoral nominee in New York has condemned anti-Semitism. It is also true he's wanted to globalize the Intifada. and has defended the Free Palestine movement and the River to Sea efforts and the like. Just because someone says something language-wise, you do have to understand they oftentimes lie. One of the hallmarks of Marxism is the redefinition of language. So you can say condemn anti-Semitism, but does he actually mean it? The things that just because someone says something publicly, that their words and actions need to align. And when you're saying I condemn anti-Semitism and also the Jews need to get out of Palestine and we need to globalize the Intifada, that suggests you probably are just saying it because you're running for office. Now, we must talk about the actual great global conspiracy. I am a member of a conspiracy group. A group that actually pulls the levers behind the scenes. I'm not an influential member. I just have the membership card. It's called the Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy. The Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy these days is not exactly what it was. Used to show up at the family reunions and everybody liked each other. Now you go to the Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy and you got to go to individual groups because they've all decided they don't like each other. They've had a falling out. They let the John Birchers back in. Those are the nut jobs. It's like your crazy uncle comes back in. He's really convinced the Jews are in charge and not a fan of it. You got the anti-immigrant types. You got the pro-lifers. They're the good people. You got the fiscal guys, the fiscal conservatives. They're the fun guys, but you're also kind of sure there's something not right on the home front. And in the Vast Right-Wing Conspiracy, we organized the smart people into a group called the Federalist Society. Donald Trump has said the Federalist Society gave him bad advice on judicial nominations. This is from Politico. On Wednesday, that is today, the Senate Judiciary Committee will consider nominees for seats on the federal bench, including Emil Bove, Trump's number 3 at the Justice Department, and an outsider to some mainstream conservative legal circles. Bove's nomination has divided the right over whether Trump was eschewing the traditional conservative Federalist Society pipeline in favor of his own brand of loyal nominees. But even amid a schism between Trump and the Federalist Society, the president's orbit has continued to embrace lawyers and jurists who have ties to the most influential conservative legal group. In a sign of the continued alignment between the Federalist Society and the administration, the Senate Judiciary Committee will also vote Thursday on a different slate of judicial nominees, all 5 of whom are members of the Federalist Society. The Federalist Society is just interwoven into the conservative legal establishment, says Russell Wheeler, a non-resident senior fellow at the Brookings Institute. For all Trump's indignation, the majority of his picks thus far are not only Federalist Society members, they're proud Federalist Society members. As some of the judges Trump nominated have ruled in ways he doesn't like, in particular in the wake of a ruling from the U.S. Court of International Trade that nullified Trump's tariffs, the president took after Leonard Leo. Problem was the Trump-appointed judge on the Court of International Trade was a judge that the Federalist Society had opposed. I honestly don't think the president knew that the judge he appointed to the Court of Trade who ruled against him wasn't a Federalist Society member. In fact, I suspect much of the president's base, when he went after the Federalist Society, just assumed the guy was a Federalist Society member. He's not a Federalist Society member. The Federalist Society opposed the guy. You know who the guy was? I forget his name now. On the International Court of Trade, he was actually a Democratic staffer on Capitol Hill. He was a staff member to Democrats on one of the trade committees on Capitol Hill, and he was aligned with President Trump's trade guru in his first term, and people assumed, oh, this guy will be conservative. He's not a conservative. He's a Democrat. And the Federalist Society actually warned the president that this guy would not be a reliable vote. He wasn't even in the Federalist Society. And then the president took after the Federalist Society, whose members, by and large, have sided with President Trump. I know a couple of Federalist Society federal judges, all of whom have pointed out that they have reliably ruled for the President of the United States. It's the non-Federalist Society members who have. The fact of the matter is the Federalist Society produces good nominees. It's not some boogeyman. You know, one of the attacks on the Federalist Society, that's one of the stupidest attacks people 30 feet over the runway make it, is that the Federalist Society did not put any money towards President Trump's challenge of the 2020 election. I don't know what the hell they think the Federalist Society is. It's a debating society. The Federalist Society doesn't fund causes like challenging President Trump's election. You know who does? The Federalist Society members who are lawyers, and most of the lawyers who challenged the election on behalf of President Trump were Federalist Society members. Can't get away from it. The Federalist Society is a good organization. It's such a good conservative organization that the left has decided they got to create their own version of it. Got a local Federalist Society near my old law school, which is literally 3 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. The faculty advisor at the Federalist Society is also a lawyer for President Trump. They're good people. Now, I'm not going to do an entire monologue here about the Federalist Society. This is just to lay the groundwork for this. There are a lot of conservative groups out there. They don't always see eye to eye with the president on everything. And sometimes the president publicly blasts them, like the Federalist Society. And yet the individual members are actually totally on the president's side, and the groups themselves tend to work to advance the president's agenda. And there's a level of discernment that a lot of people don't make, that Donald Trump himself actually makes. Take the Kochs, the Kochtopus, Charles Koch. You know, the group that is actually spending the most outside money to help get the president's tax plan passed is Americans for Prosperity, and they happen to be part of that Koch network. Would the president prefer they not spend the money? No, the president understands it. It's the base sometimes are way more black and white than Donald Trump is. President Trump is happy to have the support of Americans for Prosperity. This isn't an ad for him. But he's happy to have their support like he is to have the Federalist Society's support. He just occasionally roughs people up to try to get his way on stuff. And I think everybody understands that, except there's a segment of the base like, oh, Federalist Society, now bad. What's so weird is watching people on social media turn on a dime when Donald Trump does this stuff. All these people are like, oh, Federalist Society, bad. I hate Federalist Society. They don't know anything about the Federalist Society. They never even thought about the Federalist Society. Suddenly it lives rent-free in their head because Donald Trump said something bad about it. Meanwhile, the president is putting Federalist Society members on the federal courts, and these people are like, Federalist Society, bad, because Donald Trump tweeted it. And Donald Trump is like, oh, these Federalist Society lawyers, they'd make great judges. Time to put them on the bench. Or Americans for Prosperity, bad. Donald Trump doesn't like Koch. Oh, wait, they're spending millions of dollars to push the Senate to pass the tax reform package. They might actually be good. And it's not just them. Time and time again, this sort of stuff happens where people get on their little blinders. They take a very narrow field. They don't see the bigger picture. Donald Trump sometimes roughs people up that he has a good working relationship with. It's part of the transactional nature of dealing with Trump. And most people understand that. There are just some people who are 30 feet over the runway who don't seem to understand what's going on here. And yet we all get along. And here's the other thing that you got to be mindful of. In 1,300 some odd days, like 1,332, something like that, going to be a new president of the United States. In about 500 days, Republicans are going to start moving on from Donald Trump. He'll still be a force to reckon with. He's not going away per se, but he's term limited. Some will divide for Rubio, some for Vance, some will go back to Ron DeSantis, some maybe for Brian Kemp in Georgia. I'm sure there are plenty of other people who are going to run. But nothing lasts forever in American politics. What tends to last the longest are the institutions put in place by both sides to prop up the legacy. And with Donald Trump, MAGA means whatever Donald Trump wants it to mean. And that's kind of the issue and where the fight, I think, is going to come on the right is after Donald Trump is done with this term, what does MAGA really mean, and who is the ideological successor to MAGA? Is it J.D. Vance, or is it Marco Rubio? Is it someone else? By the time we get to 2028, do people think, we need something new? What is it? Meanwhile, you're going to have groups like the Federalist Society that are still finding pro-life conservative warriors to put on the bench. You need those organizations to continue on after any individual person. And you should be very careful about destroying the institutions built up over time by the right to be able to preserve the institutions, arguments, ideas, and policies of the right. Because if they all go away into a vacuum, others are going to fill it. Take Orrin Cass for a minute. Orrin Cass has some economic group out there. He's the big proponent of tariffs. Saw a horrifying picture the other day where his group was educating young staffers on Capitol Hill about basic economics. Bad idea because he embraces socialist economics. Now, there are plenty of conservative groups that actually embrace free market economics. Cass has decided to embrace tariffs. And you know who funds him? It's not actually conservative groups that fund him. It's the Hewlett Foundation. The same foundations that funded the Black Lives Matters movement, the same foundation that funds other left-wing causes, is funding Orrin Cass's economic group that purports to be a right-wing group. Why do you think they would do that? Why do you think left-wing groups would fund an organization on the right that purports to remake economics on the right? Why do you think committed left-wing orthodoxy would fund something on the right? Why do you think that is? Meanwhile, the Federalist Society keeps churning out good conservatives to be on the bench. You should not abandon the past. You know, the hallmark of progressives versus conservatives is progressives have no sense of history because they think history always begins today. The right understands you got to have a sense of history to see where you're headed. And there are a lot of people on the right these days who actually are philosophically progressive. They don't care about the history. They don't care what was. They're just ready to rush off into revolution to create something new. That was what the French Revolution did, and look what happened. It collapsed around them after they all lost their heads. The American Revolution was very conservative. They wanted the past. They wanted what they thought were their rights already. And we're still on the first American Republic while France is on God knows what. I'd rather be like us than them.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cold Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Stall just got cleared out of the center lane into Cobb County, heading from Norcross toward Doraville, 85 southbound, Pleasantdale Road, exit 96, but still seeing a few brake lights back toward Jimmy Carter Boulevard. Checking on the new slow zone in Marietta, 75 northbound, getting slower, approaching North Marietta Parkway, exit 265. We'll see if any lanes are blocked there. And downtown brake lights filling in southbound from the 85-400 merge toward Midtown and downtown. Traffic brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. Hey, Georgia, Mega Millions just got an upgrade, and now with bigger jackpots, better odds to win, and a built-in multiplier on every ticket. Drawings every Thursday and Friday. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
What would you do with $1,000 this summer?
Hotel, pool, week at the beach, cabin in the woods.
Whatever you want to do this summer,
WSB has $1,000 to make it happen.
$1,000 Thursdays gives you the chance to win $1,000 every hour between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Listen for the keyword at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. and 12, 1, 2, and 3 p.m.
Enter the keyword at WSBradio.com or on the WSB app within that hour.
You could win $1,000. Get all the info at WSBradio.com.
$1,000 Thursdays begins tomorrow.
From 95.5 WSB, where Atlanta wins.
The Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate the hassle this summer. Hi, this is Mark Spain, and our offers are the strongest in the industry. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home and skip the hassle of constant cleaning and costly repairs. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Our guaranteed offer keeps you in control. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
This is Scott Slade, and see if this fits you. You've just gotten an exorbitant estimate for repairs on your beautiful European car, or you're ready to cut the tie with the dealer. You need to check out Wolf Pen European Auto Repair in Roswell. Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, BMW, the certified technicians at Wolf Pen will have your European car or SUV running at top performance and safety without sky-high pricing. And to get to know you better for a limited time, mention you heard about Wolf Pen on the radio and get a free second opinion on repairs. Just search Wolf Pen in Roswell.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long.
And your budget is tight.
And your village is busy.
And the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All right, I gotta just share the story with you because I think it's kind of funny. This is from Axios. House Democrats privately vented their fury Tuesday at what they said is a premature and unhelpful vote on impeaching President Trump for his strikes on Iran. Impeachment has dogged Democrats since Trump came back into office, with Tuesday's vote finally forcing them to go on the record after half a year of internal turmoil. 128 Democrats sided with House Republicans to block Representative Al Green from bringing a Trump impeachment vote, including most of Democratic leadership. Only 79 House Democrats, progressives in safe seats, sided with Green. One House Democrat told Axios on the condition of anonymity that, quote, a completely unserious and selfish move. Another House Democrat said there is, quote, a lot of anger about the vote. Most people think it's unhelpful. Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi both voted against the resolution. Green forced a sudden vote on impeaching Trump for ordering strikes on nuclear facilities in Iran over the weekend without getting authorization from Congress. The 5-page measure argued that Trump disregarded the doctrine of separation of powers by usurping Congress's power to declare war. Democrats, this is so funny. They are, the base of the Democratic Party is so hopping mad and hates Donald Trump so much they want to do whatever they can do to fight Donald Trump, and they have decided that one of the ways to fight Donald Trump is just try to impeach him all the time. And they've gotten so regular about dropping articles of impeachment and threats of impeachment. You've got Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi telling them, shut up and stop. It's a distraction. Most Americans supported what happened. In fact, there is polling out there that 49% of Americans support what the president did, 30% oppose, the rest don't know. Americans pretty supportive. This is literally the plot of Top Gun Maverick, sending in American pilots to blow the smithereens out of a fundamentalist Islamic Republic that flies F-14s. I mean, that's the basics of the Top Gun Maverick. Spoiler alert, I guess I should say, if you haven't seen the movie. But it was all about stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Americans support stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Nancy Pelosi said she was opposed to impeachment of Donald Trump because, in her words, quote, Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. And yet, radical progressives wanted to impeach the president for doing what most people wanted him to do. All right, I got to move on. Before I move on, though, Hillsdale College wants your attention. They have some great classes, and you can take part in those classes. You go to ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up today. You're going to be able to take all the classes you want, 40 of them. They got 40 to choose from history to philosophy to theology to literature to chemistry to mathematics to economics. And surely there's a class you're interested in. You want to learn more about it. You go to ericforhillsdale.com today. You sign up. You'll never pay a penny. It's completely free. You put in your information. They give you access to the classes. It depends on the class, how long it is, but they're in manageable 30-minute videos. You watch them at your own pace. You get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale College when you're done. All you have to do is go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Go improve your mind. Learn about a topic you're already interested in. Get a deeper knowledge. ericforhillsdale.com. Go sign up with them today.
Oh, popsicle drips, muddy shoes, and summertime messes. Don't let them take over your home. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Zerorez uses their ZR water technology, no dirt-attracting soaps, no harsh chemicals, just a truly clean, healthy home. Right now, take advantage of their summer sale. Get 15% off all services, that is carpets, air ducts, rugs, tile, and more, all 15% off. Just mention Chris Chandler or book now at ZerorezAtlanta.com, and yet they do commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A man is dead. A woman is injured after a shooting in a quiet Locust Grove neighborhood. Police say a suspect is in custody. Officers say the suspect was still firing shots when they arrived at the house on Weymouth Drive this morning. He eventually surrendered. A $10,000 reward offered as Brookhaven police try to find 3 suspects involved in a shooting that killed a 15-year-old boy earlier this month. The shooting took place near the McDonald's on Claremont Road on the night of June 14th. Police are releasing a video of the suspects today. No arrests have been made yet. One person is killed in a house fire in Snellville. Captain Ryan McGibney with Gwinnett Police, the Gwinnett Fire Department, says firefighters attempted to rescue the person trapped inside the home on Roundstone Trail.
While attempting that rescue, there was a structural collapse of the roof system, forcing our crews to withdraw for their own safety.
Once they got inside the home, they found the victim, but he died at the hospital. 3 dogs also died. President Trump says the commitment by NATO members to spend more on defense could counter future Russian aggression. CBS's Charlie D'Agata reports it seems to have changed the president's feelings about the alliance.
It will be really telling in the next few months because there were suggestions that the United States was going to pull some troops out of Europe. They may be looking at that again now with this sort of new love affair that the United States is having with NATO.
NATO leaders have agreed to increase defense spending to 5% of annual GDP, matching the U.S. It's 2:32.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash, and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 five-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
This is Monica Pearson for Superior Plumbing. When you have plumbing problems, you need it done quickly and on your schedule. Superior Plumbing will work around your schedule night and day. They've served Atlanta for almost 40 years. They want to be your plumber for life, and they'll earn your trust by doing the work correctly the first time. So do what I did and call Superior Plumbing night or day to have a trusted plumber fix your plumbing issues.
Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
This upcoming health tip is brought to you by Kroger Pharmacy. Mold, pet dander, and dust mites are the most common culprits of allergies. In most situations, the key is avoidance. So if a dust mite allergy is the problem, wash your bed sheets weekly in hot water and invest in an allergen-reducing mattress cover. Your neighborhood Kroger Pharmacy is happy to welcome back Express Scripts Medicare D and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. It's easy to transfer prescriptions at Kroger.com/pay-or-update. See your Kroger Pharmacy for details.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
New travel advisory in Marietta. Crash, 2 right lanes, 75 northbound, North Marietta Parkway. That's the North 120 loop exit 265. You're already stacking up quickly back toward Delk Road. Use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, or the express lanes if you have a Peach Pass. If you're making the trek into downtown out of Buckhead on 400 southbound, brake lights find you south of Lennox Road. You stay on and off that brake pedal for the ride down into Midtown and downtown, with northbound getting slower from University Avenue up past Freedom Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
A few pop-up showers and storms in the afternoon and evening. Some storms may produce damaging wind gusts. Right now, it's 95 in Duluth, 97 in Acworth, 95 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Tackling politics and culture with clarity.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. To the phones we go. Michelle waiting patiently. Welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Erickson. Pleasure.
Thanks for calling.
I was wondering if you had covered the female pilot. I mean, I know the Democrats are harbingers of doom, as are the media, but how come nobody's even talking about the fact that we had a female pilot?
Well, you know, when Pete Hegseth the other day said our boys, the New York Times was quick to fact check him and say there were women trained to fly, but they didn't actually report that there were women pilots, which apparently there were on 2 of the planes.
Yeah, I heard at least 2.
So
and I mean, they started that whole Me Too movement. I was kind of thinking they'd hit on the positive, but I know better, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, those warmongering women on the planes. Yeah, no, the Democrats will make jokes about them. You know that they kept circling in the air trying to figure out where to go. But you're right. I mean, we've got female pilots dropping bombs on Iran. The only thing that would probably make it better is if they were Jewish female pilots dropping bombs on Iran. That would really be a funny headline for the Iranians to have to process. But yeah,
Yes, it
God
would be.
bless them for doing it. And I'm glad you pointed that out because I knew there was one female pilot on one of the planes, but you're right, there were two. And yeah, God bless them. Good for them. Michelle, thanks for the phone call. Listen, yeah, why are the Democrats praising women in the military? You know, they're attacking Joni Ernst, who served in the military. Democrats don't particularly, they like the idea, but those women, unless they're trans women, the Democrats don't really care about them serving in the military. Y'all, I've got some news. I have some news. It has hit the wires. This is from Barak Ravid from Axios. Israeli intelligence services believe the U.S. and Israeli strikes caused, quote, very significant damage to Iran's nuclear facilities, with some officials perplexed by a leaked U.S. intelligence report that suggests otherwise. Like the United States, Israel has not produced a final assessment on how far back the bombing campaign has set Iran's nuclear program. The emerging Israeli assessment presents a far more optimistic view of the operation than a preliminary report from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which assessed the strikes may have set Iran back only a few months. President Trump's claim that Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated came under scrutiny after the report was leaked. The leak infuriated the White House, which rejected the findings as fake news. Speaking Wednesday at the NATO summit, Trump said the U.S. report was a preliminary report and was inconclusive. Israel, which initiated the war and faces a far more direct threat from Iran than the U.S., is satisfied with the results. A professional battle damage assessment takes time, an official from Israel stressed. Israeli intelligence services haven't arrived at any bottom lines for now, but we don't think there was any bug in the operation, and we have no indication that the bunker buster bombs didn't work. Nobody here is disappointed. In other words, behind the scenes, Israeli officials said the Iranian government had been engaged in its own battle damage assessment. An Israeli official with direct knowledge of intelligence on Iran says intercepted communications suggest Iranian military officials have been giving false situation reports to the country's political leadership, downplaying the extent of the damage. The Iranians themselves still don't have a clear idea of what happened to some of their nuclear facilities. At Natanz, the above-ground enrichment facility was completely destroyed, and signs point to the collapse of underground infrastructure. At Fordo, the U.S. military's 30,000-pound bunker busters inflicted major damage, though Israeli officials say it's unclear if the underground areas completely collapsed. At Isfahan, Israeli officials said the uranium reprocessing facility was destroyed. The underground tunnels were damaged. The full scope is being assessed. We doubt these facilities can be activated any time in the near future. Two Iranian officials also claimed intelligence showed Iran's stockpile of 60% and 20% enriched uranium is now buried beneath rubble at Isfahan and Fordo, and it's unclear if Iran will be able to recover it in the near future. Beyond the direct damage of Iran's nuclear facilities, Israeli officials say the broader war effort dealt a crippling blow to Iran's long-term nuclear capabilities. Israel assassinated dozens of A-list and B-list nuclear scientists, key figures with both institutional memory and hands-on experience. Several of Iran's centrifuge-producing lines were destroyed, and the IDF destroyed labs and testing facilities. Israel says the bottom line is when you put it all together, this is a serious cumulative effect. In other words, while the initial DIA assessment, which was rated low confidence, was leaked, the Israeli initial assessment, is pretty upbeat and positive about it. Let me explain to you the centrifuges. I'm not an expert. You need to know I'm not an expert. I know how to talk to the experts. I know how to read the expertise. The centrifuges are these machines that spin at very, very high rates. As they're refining and enriching the uranium, they're pulling out from the uranium impurities. They spin faster than a bullet goes. Very high rates of speed. When they begin to slow down, when they actually get to the speed of a bullet, turbulence happens. They become unstable, and they start wobbling and bouncing. And the turbulence becomes so strong that they get out of alignment, and as they get out of alignment, they're moving so fast. The blades in the refining machine, enriching machine, wobble enough that they wind up hitting the wall of the containment unit, and they shatter the blades, and they're spinning so fast as the blades shatter, it causes the machine to explode. It is very hard, even in the United States, China, and Iran, or in Russia, where there's a lot of expertise on enriching uranium. It's very hard to slow down one of these machines. It takes a lot of skill. I read you guys a report a couple of days ago that when Iran, the very first time they agreed to slow down the centrifuges that enrich the uranium, that they lost 2 out of 3 of them, and they were trained. They had a plan for containment, and they still lost 2 out of 3 of them. When you bomb those nuclear enrichment facilities where the centrifuges are running nonstop, and they lose power, they slow at an uncontrolled rate. When they slow at an uncontrolled rate, the centrifuges, for example, so the way that you contain the turbulence is you speed it up and slow it down gradually. So as it's slowing down and you hit the turbulence, you hold it in place, rev it a little bit until the turbulence goes away, lower the speed again until more turbulence happens, raise it up a little again, and it takes a very long time. It is a very long process to slow the centrifuges down until they stop. When the power goes out, there's no controlled stop. They blow up. That happened. We know that happened because we know they might have been able to remove uranium from Fordo, but they couldn't have removed the centrifuges. Too big. And because they couldn't remove the centrifuges, and the centrifuges were without power when they stopped, they would have all blown up. So they're going to have to rebuild centrifuges. It's something that the media wants to be dismissive of, but it actually makes a major impact. Now, could Iran build a dirty bomb? Yeah. Could they use a 60% uranium enrichment to build a couple of nuclear weapons? Yeah, they absolutely could. But if they can't get to it because it's buried under 200 feet of rock, what good does it do them? The fact that our initial assessment was skeptical and that it leaked suggests the initial assessment was designed to be a political attack on Donald Trump. Remember, we just had a Defense Intelligence Agency employee arrested for trying to sell classified state secrets to a foreign government because he was upset Donald Trump won the election. This is the institution from which the leak came if it didn't come from Congress, and I actually think it came from Congress. But we certainly do have operatives within the bureaucracy of the intelligence community who hate Donald Trump, who are willing to sell out their own country because of him. So I would be a little skeptical on this initial report, particularly when the Israelis are closer to it, have better intelligence inside Iran, and they're saying, no, actually the Iranian military is lying to the political people and doesn't want them to know how bad off it was. It sounds like the Americans picked up on what they were telling and didn't know the Iranian military was actually lying, and the Israelis are actually inside the Iranian military and know it. Now, there's some breaking news happening. This just hit the wires. Thank you to my buddy Brian for flagging this to me. This is from the Wall Street Journal. This is an exclusive report from them. A mediator has proposed that President Trump and Paramount Global settle his lawsuit over a CBS News 60 Minutes interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris for $20 million, according to people familiar with the matter. The proposal would include a $17 million donation to Donald Trump's presidential foundation or museum. It would also include millions more in legal fees and public service announcements on Paramount-owned networks to fight anti-Semitism. Trump's team has said it wants an apology, something Paramount isn't prepared to do, according to people familiar with the situation. It couldn't be learned whether Trump's team is still seeking an apology. Settlement talks are still fluid and an agreement might not be reached. Paramount has been at an impasse with Trump's lawyers for weeks after entering mediation. The company had offered $15 million to settle the suit. Trump wanted more than $25 million. Trump alleged in October that the network committed election interference by deceitfully editing a 60-minute interview with Democratic presidential candidate Harris, making her sound better. The lawsuit ultimately sought $20 billion in damages. CBS has said it didn't doctor her comments, but rather aired a more succinct version of her response, which means they cut it. Over the past few months, Paramount leaders have been wrestling with how to settle the lawsuit without exposing directors or officers to liability in potential future shareholder litigation or to criminal charges for bribing a public official. By settling within the range of what other companies have paid to end litigation with Trump, some Paramount executives have said they hope to minimize liability. A potential settlement of $20 million, including legal fees, would be in line with what other media and tech companies have paid to settle lawsuits from Trump. There you have it. This is breaking news just hitting the wires, and exclusive from the Wall Street Journal. Paramount wants to settle its case with Donald Trump related to the CBS News interview. They're all caving to the president. Whether you like it or not, Donald Trump is going to be president for another 1,330 some odd days. Democrats are having a hard time wrapping their minds around that. Y'all, I need to tell you about my friends at Swiss America. They are warning you about a secret war on cash, and they would love to give you their free report. It takes less than 15 minutes to read on what's actually happening out there. Now, you've got bank turmoil out there. Swiss America has been sounding this alarm with soaring interest rates squeezing the economy. Jerome Powell not cutting rates. Swiss America wants to educate you so you can protect your hard-earned assets right now. Go read their report, The Secret War on Cash. Your copy is completely free. All you have to do is call or text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. All that War on Cash includes digital forms of currency. It's spreading. Go read The Secret War on Cash report free. By the way, The Secret War on Cash includes digital currencies. Your crypto is not protecting you from the government. So mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. That's SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Or call them at 800-289-2646. Mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text them. Message and data rates may apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
249, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues through Marietta. Crash on I-75 northbound at the North Marietta Parkway exit 265 knocks out 2 right lanes. Think about Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, or the express lanes as your alternates as you jam up back at Delk Road. New crash on the south side, 85 northbound in Fairburn, Highway 74, Sonoya Road exit 61. That takes out a left lane. And seeing the volume fill in DeKalb, 285 southbound, the inner loop through Tucker and Clarkston from I-85 Spaghetti Junction down to Highway 78. Traffic brought to you by Peach Pass and the new Peach Pass Go mobile app. The Peach Pass Go mobile app helps you get there faster with new and improved features and more coming soon. Download the new Peach Pass Go mobile app today at peachpass.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric
me.
Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Dave Baker for Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Looking for a new truck and looking for a great deal? Simply go to beavertoyotacumming.com/Dave's Deals and save money on a new Toyota Tundra. The Toyota Tundra from Beaver Toyota of Cumming is the official truck of the Home Fix-It Show.
With thousands of 5-star reviews, it's no wonder CertaPro Painters is Greater Atlanta's most preferred painting company. Hear from one of their happy customers.
We wanted to add some color to our walls, so we hired CertaPro. We had built-in shelves that were supposed to be ready to paint when they got there, which they were not. CertaPro spent hours caulking and sanding to make sure the job was done right. It's rare to find a crew with integrity who really take pride in their work.
When choosing a painting professional, choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Men, trouble in the bedroom?
Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. You can save time, make the most money, and eliminate all the hassle this summer. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see "Get a phone on us," get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable, nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
3777 now.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. Happy to have you with me. Y'all, I got to tell you, I went to the Drudge Report today. I still have it bookmarked. I hardly ever go there. Every once in a while, you find just some sort of weird or odd story, but good Lord, what has happened. It is a massive anti-Trump operation now. It's a buddy of mine says it's like the same old, it's like somebody wearing a skin suit of the Drudge Report. I mean, the level of like anti-Trump propaganda that basically that's the entire site at this point is massive anti-Trump propaganda with a few other things in there. It's just like, for example, I just pulled it back up. There's a story about Apple and its F1 movie coming out. San Francisco luxury housing market booming again because of AI wealth. Looks like Big Balls has resigned from Doge. It's very, very odd stuff. Now, one story that I did see in there that I actually want to bring up to you is you're going to want to be here tomorrow. You're going to want to be here because the United States Supreme Court will be issuing some major decisions as it heads into its summer break. We may not get them all tomorrow, but we're expecting to get them all tomorrow. So there's the birthright citizenship case on whether the president can scrap birthright citizenship. There is the Free Speech Coalition versus Paxson on a Texas law requiring pornographic websites to verify visitors' ages. 20 states have embraced that. There's the religious rights case examining whether their parents can pull their kids out of public school classes, normalizing alphabet gay magic prop. There is the Planned Parenthood funding case about the governor of South Carolina cutting off reimbursements to Planned Parenthood. There's the voting rights case, congressional map challenge in Louisiana happening. All of these cases should be coming out, if not tomorrow, probably Friday. Very big cases from the Supreme Court. And then one of the biggest cases of all, universal injunctions. Can judges issue universal injunctions nationally, even though the lawsuit is filed in one district in the country, does that judge have the power to curb behavior nationwide? That one is going to be the most interesting one. I suspect Trump's going to lose on birthright citizenship. I would be surprised. I'm willing to eat crow on it, but I think I think we're going to be surprised that the court overwhelmingly backs birthright citizenship. And I know there are going to be some angry people. I will eat crow if I'm wrong on that, but I just don't see them changing that. We'll see where it lines up. The oral arguments didn't go for Trump in that. Even Clarence Thomas seems skeptical. But these cases should come tomorrow. If they do, out of the gate tomorrow, I'm going to prioritize Supreme Court decisions. I'll get them before, because they'll start issuing at 10 a.m., so I will just sit at my desk and I will be reading Supreme Court cases tomorrow to out of the gate bring you the latest, because these have the potential to dramatically reshape portions of what we do in the country, including can parents, Muslim parents, remember, in Maryland, are parents allowed to pull their children out of public education if the education offends the religious sensibilities of the parents? I suspect we're going to find that, yes, the Supreme Court says you can do that. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this heads. A lot of news happening more. You know, I got to admit, today was a little bit of a slow news day. Even with the president at NATO, it was a little bit of a slow news day. And I had time to fill. And I've been like saving stuff. I wanted to talk about these things for a little bit. Candidates mattering. Drummond, the attorney general out in Oklahoma. I certainly hope you Oklahomans reject him in the Republican primary, among other things. And I've been wanting to save that stuff up. So today was a good day to do that. But tomorrow is going to be very fast-paced. Why? Because in addition to the Supreme Court decisions, we will have a better assessment of the Iranian nuclear complex tomorrow. We're also going to have more of the president's NATO summit. And the Republicans in the Senate are going to begin to refine the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And the rumor is the bill is becoming a bit of a monstrosity, and they may not have the votes to get it out of the Senate in its present form. The parliamentarian is continuing to gut portions of it, and we'll have a better shape of that by noon tomorrow. So stick around noon tomorrow. There's going to be a lot to discuss.
More local news.
An employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening.
Atlanta's morning news.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
President Trump's executive order about prescription drugs is going to end up being argued in the courts eventually and all that. But the point the president made that was so important is the value of you shopping for your prescription drugs outside of a prescription drug plan if you have one from your work or you have one otherwise. Because more often than not, for non-brand names, in other words, generic prescription drugs, which are 80% of prescriptions, you can fill them as a cash pay cheaper than using the insurance plan most of us typically might have for drug coverage.